You know an intro is good that when after like the 70th time you've seen it, it still gives you goosebumps. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and friends. And yes, I have brought a ton of friends. This is a panel that is packed with absolutely astounding community members. We have two folks that are running a little bit behind. Oh, wait a second. No, wait. Colt is here. Let me bring him in on the conversation. Colt Eastwood, welcome, brother. Welcome. Let's get you in here, brother. Let's get you in. Hold on just a second. Let me just set. There we go. Okay, Colt Eastwood, welcome, brother. Listen, I'm so excited for a lot of reasons. First of all, it's a very rare occasion that you can have this many incredible, responsible community members in one location to talk about one of the biggest things to happen in gaming, at least in my lifespan. I've been gaming since 1978. I have never seen anything quite as large as what has been proposed as the Activision Blizzard King merger. Yesterday, folks, a lot of us have been on the fence. You know, originally this was like, yeah, it's 80-20, it's getting done, 70-30, 50-50. You know, it's been going back and forth. And what happened yesterday was showmanship in a way that literally put every regulatory body on blast. Yesterday, if you missed the news, and obviously if you did, I don't know where you were hiding, Microsoft and Activision showed up at a hearing in Brussels to discuss the remedies that they were willing to offer, the concerns of the EU Commission. And Brad Smith and everyone that you needed to be there was there. But Brad Smith stole the show when he pulled out a contract and held it to the camera and said, "We're just waiting for Sony's signature." I mean, that is as ballsy as you could possibly get. But I think really what sets the stage for if this deal gets stopped or held up, where I'm going to publicly say it, either there is collusion or corruption or both, is the chart that was on Brad Smith's left-hand side, where it clearly showed that in that region, we're only specifically talking about the UK and the EU, Sony PlayStation holds an 80 percentile to 20 when you talk about PlayStation versus Xbox. Now, I am no mathematician. I am no doctored, legal analyst, but I can tell you by pure definition, anything over 70% of a region is considered a monopoly. So when you put what he showed out there for the press, which he did, and you bring the pictures, because sometimes, a lot of these journalists, they're like children. They only know how to look at pictures. Like, instead of reading the comic, they're just reading the pictures, changing the pages and missing the whole story. You can see where competition needs to be injected into that region to make it fair. And obviously, we know that Jim Ryan is from that region. We know that Jim Ryan does have connections within government, within parliament. But I think that we are at a crossroads, folks, where anything outside of, okay, we're going to pass the deals, we're going to accept all of the concessions or remedies, as it's called in that region of the world, and then we're just going to move it on. You have to start asking yourself whether or not corruption and collusion is a part of the conversation. But before we get into breaking it down, and folks, we have a very large panel here. Let's start with introductions. And I'm going to start first with our guest making his debut on Double Barrel Gaming. Post up the man who has made a name for himself of really explaining and breaking down. I mean, his updates are outstanding. There is
breaking backs.
Yeah, and breaking backs indeed. Post up. Welcome, brother. How you feeling?
Well, I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be on the panel around such awesome people in the community, and I'm ready to have a great show. Great news yesterday. I think we still got some ways to go with it, but I've been positive about this deal since it started. So let's get it. I'm excited. I'm just ready to,
Yeah, well, I'll say this, to your point. Yes, there are some stepping stones that need to be, there's some T's that got to get crossed, some I's that got to get dotted. But I do think we're closer to the finish line than a lot of people think that they are.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
And remember, March 23rd is only a couple of weeks away, 4 weeks away, and that's when they're going to come up with their decision. And I would imagine that it's going to be a positive decision. But Lord King, 98% right of the time. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
I'm fantastic. You know, I saw Oprah Winfrey up there. You get a contract. You get a contract. You get a contract. I told everybody from the beginning that I knew that the deal would go through. I thought it would go through in November. I thought it would, be smooth sailings. But one thought is, I think Jim is a time traveler. I think Jim knew what was going to happen in the future.
Yep.
He took the home base from PlayStation from Japan and centered them in the EU. Only a time traveler could have did that chess move. That man is a magician.
You're saying he got an almanac from the future to tell him what's going to happen?
How you gonna predict that
Gamer's almanac.
If you think about it, right?
Up in here,
Snitcher's almanac. I'm just saying.
For real, right? Wow. Dunny. If they're still in Japan, Japan is their home base, and Sean Layden is still in charge, this doesn't go down like this. But the fact that Jim is from the EU, has ties in the EU, dated the Japan home base, everything, and made the EU their home turf. They're really fighting a battlegrounds for life in their home turf.
Yeah.
And if Jim is not there, this does not go down. So I really think Jim is from the future. He's a time traveler, and Jim knows the truth. But he also knows he's going to lose.
He's the reason why they've been successful in the EU as well.
Oh,
So
dude,
that's
the only reason why.
Take nothing away from Jim Ryan. He is responsible for almost 5-1 difference in Xbox versus PlayStation.
Yep.
That's all on him.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. But listen, Colt Eastwood, my God, brother, we haven't podcasted together in seems like over many, many months. XNC as popular as ever. Brother, thanks so much for taking the time to be here. How the heck are you?
I'm frustrated. It's I'm waiting for this to be done, but I really haven't talked about it. I talked about it on the podcast briefly. Even yesterday, I had my show, or Monday, whatever it was, had the show, and I had like 3 bullet points for Activision, and I didn't bring it up because it just gets so tiring. But we're really in this situation now where PlayStation has zero excuse. They've been called out on the carpet. They're the laughing clowns of the industry right now.
Absolutely.
And we'll get into that later about how you're not allowed to make memes about PlayStation.
Yeah, Lulu putting down those chops. I mean,
Lulu sent me a DM. Lulu was talking to me earlier today. We are in this situation where PlayStation has tried not to keep competition healthy, but to keep people from competing with them.
Yes.
And they've been called out on the carpet for it. They're looking like clowns. They are afraid of Game Pass. They just need to bend the knee, enjoy the extra money they get from Call of Duty, which they don't own, and just move on. They've got their studios that they're money hatting. They've got their games that they're making. They're great studios. So you're right. The deal's going to be done. It'll probably close, I guess, probably this summer, I would assume, and we'll just move on with our lives. And if you plan anything, if you're someone who's not just a PlayStation only fan, if you own more than one device that can play video games, you're good to go. But if you refuse to play on anything like a PC, a laptop, a tablet, a TV, or anything, then you're going to miss out on some games. What? A refrigerator. You're going to miss out on some games.
Why not?
And, that's just how it's going to be. And so more people playing, and the regulators are just going to have to just kind of chew it up and swallow it down, I guess.
Well, I mean, look, they stepped in front of this. I think a lot of this is political pandering. I've said that from the beginning. I think everyone that is in a regulatory position or a part of one of the regulatory bodies wants to be a part of, well, we stood up to big tech. We stood up to big Microsoft. We told them how it needed to get done. Because like I said, at the end of the day, this is a win-win for everyone. This is a win for the regulators because they stood up to big tech. This is a win for Microsoft because they add Call of Duty and all of Blizzard stuff and all of King and all of Activision's legendary IP to Xbox. We know that, and I think ultimately, folks, before we get to the rest of the introductions. Ultimately, we are the big winners. The gamers are the big winners because your $15 a month subscription fee is going to be worth its weight in gold. And this comes on the cusp of, on the same day, they just announced the family plan launching into 6 other regions. So it's making its way around the world. And at some point, you're going to have 5 people, including yourself, on a $25 a month Game Pass subscription where you're not sharing anything. It's not like, hey, King, don't download Call of Duty because I want to play it. It's everyone is going to have all of the bonuses that everyone is already has, but for $5 a month. And at that point, and this is where we get into the madness of it. If you are a regulator, you are there not to protect corporations, not to protect Dance Move Jim Ryan. You're there to protect us, the consumers. And sometimes it doesn't look like that, but let's get into the rest of the introductions, and we'll get it right into the topics, folks. We already have almost 400 people here, which is amazing. Send us out on the socials, folks. Let people know that we're live. Let people know that we're doing this live and that we have an incredible panel. Maybe we can even start reaching the 1K. I'd love to hit 1K today. That would be dope, live on the air. But Crispy Bomb, welcome, brother. You and I have been talking as we always do. You have a lot to say on this. Can't wait to get your opinion.
Oh, dude, I'm just interested in these 3 guests that we have here. These pristine, fine gentlemen that have graced us with such their presence. No, I mean, you guys have been killing it, all 3 of you, and I watch all your stuff, and I mean, I think the community just loves what you guys do, and we have an all-star panel here, but I mean, to add you 3. This is a bucket list thing going on right now, and this is awesome. Love it. And yes, I have big opinions, but I want to hear everybody else's as well, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's do it.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here, brother. Wandering Dutch, how you feeling, dude? Welcome back.
You're muted.
Just
Muted,
unmute
Dutch.
myself first. Yeah.
There you go. Now you're back.
Always for this thing. No, I'm good. Awesome to jump into these awesome topics with a surprise panel. I wasn't aware we were so jam packed tonight, but I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be
Surprise! Well, listen, brother, it's great to have you here as always, and of course, thank you for all the help with the designs on the obviously the overlays, which make the show look sharp. Thank you for that. Chaos Ante, what's going on, brother? How you feeling? Thankfully, you are not under the weather, and you're back.
No.
You
Yes,
and
I'm back.
as we do every day. You've had some really finite points that I cannot wait for you to break down.
Oh no, I appreciate it. This is going to be a great show. Look at the all-star panel that's here. I'm just here as Crispy. I'm just here. I want to grab my popcorn, sit back, and just watch all the opinions because as we know, it's going to be a great show. I'm actually waiting for the Slanders one to jump in here if he can.
Right, yeah.
I think he wants to be a part of this conversation as well. No, it is great. As Boom has said, we are reaching high heights in this chat. So please hit that like button. Let the algorithms know we're doing some things so more folks can jump in here. But it's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go.
Nice. And Hargi Chani, I think you might be a time traveler as well. You've said everything that was going to happen. Well, here it is. It's happened. Microsoft signs a deal with Nintendo. They sign a deal with Nvidia. And on the same day, Nvidia is getting Xbox games. Almost instantaneously, they get the games. And one of the things that they were fighting or trying to get Activision to agree to was put Call of Duty back on that platform. And they didn't. And now, because of potential new ownership, that's been a done deal. I don't know what else Microsoft needs to do. Obviously, you were concerned, you said it before, about the cloud situation. And I think that they have addressed that. And Call of Duty being offered to here, there, and everywhere for a decade-long contract, which doesn't happen in business. I think they've answered all the questions. Welcome. How you feeling?
Yeah, good. Still trying to finish Grounded, but very close. Missing one milk molar. Apparently, there's 2 spares, and didn't realize that. But otherwise, big news day yesterday. There was some cool stuff there, and we'll talk about it and get into it. We'll see when these things finally finish, and then they'll go buy the next big thing, and there'll be a whole.
Which will be
slew more of
Ubisoft.
these
They'll buy
things.
Ubisoft for $4 billion, and they'll go right through. That's it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, who knows? Who knows? Mag, what's going on?
Yes.
Brother? You have a guest with you today.
Oh, yes.
Who has joined with you?
Oh, she was. Yep, there she is. She's right there. Hello, everybody. State of play wasn't that good. All right, yeah. So anyway, we're gonna get into that. Listen, I was shocked too when I came into this panel tonight and I found out that I was on the bottom part of the Hollywood Squares. I didn't realize there were going to be so many people here today, and I guess I'm the maid of the Brady Bunch because I'm right here. Do I have to point up to everybody and laugh and do all this stuff? But anyways. Enough
well,
nonsense.
You do
Listen.
wear a good Jim Ryan wig.
Well, yeah, I got that wig is, that wig itches my head, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm going to put it on again very soon. I got a lot of videos coming up. I just released a video about half an hour ago. I haven't even seen what's going on with it yet. I just got another video I launched, yesterday? 23,000 views already, and it was just me beating Centipede, the final boss. I was happy about that. Anyways, I don't want to get into. Listen. We got like 10 people. However many people are going to be on this panel. We got a lot to talk about. We got Brad Smith to talk about. Lululemon to talk about. We got all kind of thing to talk about. So let's get into it. Let's get right into the show.
Yeah, well, listen, real quick. I don't want to miss super chats like I did yesterday. Big Bad Mo, good friend of the program, has been a channel member for 6 months. Says 10 months actually. Says shout out to Boom and the panel, looking like the Hollywood Squares up in here. Salute. Yeah, Sith Lord drops a $2 super chat and says, "Look at this group. Hi everyone. I love you all. Thank you. We love you too, brother. This is my brother. He's my heart right here. The Black Harry Potter. I love this dude. He drops a $5 super chat and says, Legacy game, Hogwarts Legacy Game of the Year. What a panel today. The king is here. No chinchilla today, though. THO. Bionic Wolf, who's been a channel member for 2 months, says, with so many epic beards on the panel, I think Boom needs to participate. I hate beards, guys. I'm sorry to say I can't grow them because it just itches the hell out of my face, and Mrs. Boom won't kiss me, so that's a problem.
Oh well,
No. So she gets what she wants. Outbreak Gamers drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Boom, the best of the best panel. No excuses. The deal is getting done. The only question left is which regulator agrees to pass the deal first." And Adidas 20 who's been a channel member for 1 month. Hey, brother, thank you so much for that. He says, love this channel. Dude, thank you so much for the very kind words and the channel support. I'm going to go first to post up. I sent the questions. And, of course, thanks to King and Cognito's guidance, you no longer need a degree to read my show notes. Because they used to be ridiculous. I would spend 3 hours after midnight almost every night writing, and King and Cognito said, Boom, come over here. I love you, but it's too much. It's too much. You gotta shrink it down to digest, and then we'll work it out. And here we are. Well, listen, post up. You have been dominating the airwaves in recent months. I think you have exploded on the scene for your coverage specifically with the ABK deal. The question that I have, and this is going to be the question for the panel for at least the first half of the show, is: did Microsoft do enough for the EU Commission in regards to remedies? And what does it actually mean that they get Nvidia to sign a 10-year deal? They get a 10-year deal with Nintendo. Gabe Newell says we don't need to sign anything. They're going to do what they do. They get approvals from the likes of Tencent saying, hey, listen, the deal is fine for us to go through. Not a problem there. It does. We are walking an edge of madness when it comes to an abundance of evidence and support from almost everyone. And we haven't even added the unions to the conversation. Some of the biggest worldwide unions. It's almost hard to suggest that the deal would not get done. What were your thoughts of the happenings yesterday, man?
I was surprised in terms of the Nvidia contract. That's where it got me. We already knew Nintendo was going to be there, but the Nvidia thing surprised me because prior to that, most people's assumptions was that Nvidia was going there with Google and Sony to protest against the deal. But that surprised me. But that helps them cover ground in terms of the EU. I think Microsoft didn't even have to do this. I think this show was more towards for the CMA than it was for the EU, the European Commission. And the reason why I said that is because Vestager, the lady that is running this European Commission right now, came out last year in the interview and saying, hey, if Microsoft offers us concessions, we can get a deal done, right? And then around November, it looked like the European Commission was about to do the concession deal with Microsoft until Lena Khan and the FTC made that phone call and said, okay, and jumped ahead of the European Commission and blocked the deal. And from there, the European Commission took a step back because, like everyone has said, I don't think they wanted to be the first one to take that step in terms of approving a deal, especially in this political climate that we're in. So I think in terms of the European Commission, they always had concessions on the board. I think it gets approved there. The CMA is the wild card. FTC, we're not worried about them. We know what they did. We knew the FTC knew that the European Commission and the CMA had yet to rule on his decision. So they didn't need to go to federal court to file an injunction, right? That's why they went to their internal court system to kind of prolong things out to see what the other two was going to do. Now, if Microsoft get approval from the European Commission, I think that put pressure on the CMA in terms of their decision deals, because from my understanding, if you look at what the CMA, they've been siding with Sony, all Sony rhetoric in terms of their position on this. Yeah, in terms of their position on this case. If you look back at what Sony submitted to Brazil, and then you look at what the CMA wrote in they phase 1 findings, you're like, well, did y'all copy and paste some of this stuff from Sony? So I think the last card is the CMA, and I think if they can get the EU approval, which I think they will with these concessions, then that put pressures on them, because Microsoft, if they get these two, they're going to file and close in the United States.
Yeah, they already said that they would.
Yeah, they don't have to wait on the FTC. And if the FTC, that'll back them in the corner, because it's going to put them in a position to say, look, we're going to call your bluff. You done already been wasting taxpayer dollars money on these cases that you can't win. Look at the Meta case. So we're going to go and close, and either you're going to take us to court or not, because we know you can't win in federal court. So that's how I look at it. I think this show was more so for the CMA, whether opposed to the European Commission, because I think a lot of, even though we didn't get to see the statements of objections from the European Commission, I think some of their issues lined up with what the CMA has, and if they can knock both of them out in one, then so be it. But I still think the deal goes through. Neither of these regulatory bodies have a case if you look at the facts about everything. But I think in terms of the CMA, and I'm gonna say this, we knew these regulators had a lack of education and understanding in terms of how the gaming market has operated over the last 20 or 30 years, right?
Yeah.
And from the CMA perspective, my thing is, look, either you're going to do your due diligence and go out and do the research that's needed to come to a conclusion based on the numbers and the information that you found, or you're going to play hardball, block the deal, and force that information to come to you so you don't have to do the work. And I think that's where we're at with the CMA. That 3 million paper, all that stuff, no. Because a lot of things y'all said in phase 1 still line up in phase 2. It lets me know y'all ain't do y'all due diligence. And so you play hardball, you play like you're going to block the deal to force Microsoft, Sony, and all these other regulators to bring the information to you that you don't want to go out and research. So that's where I'm at with it.
No, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, look, I don't think you have to be an analyst or a regulator or someone with a title, to go to YouTube, watch a video, go to Google and do a search and find out that again, I've said this before, Post Up, and I will continue. I will stand on this stone and die. It is very easy to find that Sony has been in first place for 2 decades.
Yeah.
That the numbers don't lie. Like we can all sit here tonight and have different opinions and argue, what's consoles better, but you can't argue facts. You can't argue full numbers. The numbers don't lie. And I want to reiterate, all you have to do is look at the board, the poster board that was put up there by Brad Smith that stood on his left-hand side. The market, because again, they don't count, and I say the CMA and the EU, they don't, even the FTC, they don't count Nintendo. Nintendo's a family-friendly thing. So when you do that by their definition, not by mine, not by Microsoft, they call
it a fitness app console. Fitness app console.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me change the brand. Let me get everybody in here. Hold on just a second. Where is it? There it is. Okay, now we're back. Okay, so here we go, folks. Everborn Saga is here. His voice is barely moving because he has like laryngitis or something, but we're gonna get to you in a hot second. Everyone, thanks so much for
Asante. It was all the podcasting on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yes, slander takes a toll. I'm sorry. I understand.
It does.
Well, listen, King David, listen, you're gonna be as slanderous as ever. We would expect no less. King, you have been very, very open and honest about the deal. You yourself are a businessman. You own several businesses, right? Obviously, you are in charge. You helped propel the Iron Lords to what it is. You understand the inning workings, and you worked for Grandfather all those years as his enforcer. So no one would steal from Grandfather. Look, the deal needs to go through, and one of the numbers and one of the panels that was off to Brad Smith's right-hand side said 150 million. So people were like, what does that mean? Well, according to Brad Smith and many people in the know, right now, currently, King, Call of Duty is played on 120 million devices across multiple platforms. If this deal goes through, they have already said that they are going to bring Call of Duty to an additional 150 million additional places to play. That's double. That's double what they are. That's currently by 30 million. I think that when you suggest, again, the way Sony has framed this is that this deal is going to make the industry smaller, and that's a lie. That is an absolute lie. Jim Ryan is smaller.
He said that while he's desperately begging to move beyond just the console.
Of course,
saying that it frustrates him.
He's wanting to move past that.
Yes, he said it frustrates me that we can only sell to 20 million people on console, and we need to move beyond that. We are gatekeep behind our own only on PlayStation mantra, and then he turns around and says, "But Xbox is making it smaller by being on like 30 different devices."
That's what you say.
He wants to break the walled garden. He wants to break PlayStation out that shell. He's doing so, right? But again, all right. So Microsoft gets there and they go with a squad of people that were snitching. Sony didn't know they were snitching. Sony didn't know there was confidential informants in the building next to them. They walked in with them, and they was like, "Yeah, we would like to have someone called up for the defendant." And they was like, "Nvidia." He's like, "What the hell are you doing? wait, where you going?" He said, "Oh yeah, we signed a 10-year agreement." You did what?
He said that looks like gang activity to me.
I know you didn't sign with the. Oh my God! So yeah, man, the deal is good. We got what we want. Peace.
Peace. That's him, Your Honor.
Exactly.
Nintendo came in the building and said, "Remember what you did? Remember Final Fantasy? Remember how Final Fantasy was our lifeblood, and you supplanted us? You slid up in the back door. Remember that?
Yep."
You love Call of Duty, right?
Remember.
We signed a 10-year deal too. Peace. Phil looked over. Brad Smith looked over. Good work, guys. Good work. Good work.
They gave him the nod like this.
Facts.
Up.
Gabe even has a Valve have a whole lawyer firm sit and wait. Now, if anybody read that, why is Gabe and Valve lawyering up You ain't gonna take this away from Gabe and them.
Yeah.
Gabe ain't giving this up without a fight.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
been subpoenaed too.
All right. When was the first time you was able to offer something to somebody that you didn't own? Tell me why Microsoft is giving out 10-year deals on something they don't own yet, supposedly.
I mean, you could
right
suggest
all
that the
time.
deal is done. I mean,
It's a done deal. This is pomp and circumstance. This is you sitting inside the lunchroom and people's bringing lasagna and stuff over, and you like, wait. Hold on, I got
Dog and pony show. Dog and pony show.
Exactly. So these guys at the FTC, how can we get more money? Oh, we got to put in more time. We going over this case. I've been sitting here doing 30 hours. How many hours you logged in this week? We gonna get our money by any means necessary. We all know that lawyers is liars and cheats, right? We all know that the Senate is corrupt. We know this. So you thought 70 billion was gonna come past the table and people's hands wasn't trying to get in the pot?
Oh, man.
Come on, man. Listen, they know, and I feel sorry for Sony.
I don't.
You know why I feel sorry for Sony? They had every opportunity to move forward.
Thank you.
they did.
Every opportunity.
Thank you.
Right now, you're going to be backed in the corner. You're going to get whatever is given to you.
They sitting on their hands, bro.
And the problem with taking what is given to you is you don't have the ability to decide.
Yep.
Now you just have to eat, right? So it's either eat or starve. You're not going to starve.
Right.
So you got to take this deal. Now, everybody, this is a poison pill. I've told people before, it's a poison pill. Everybody's worrying about Call of Duty. That's not it, man. Candy Crush,
It's not. We
Candy
talked about that
Crush
for
is the
months.
goal.
Yeah.
Right? Candy Crush is it. Okay, but let's just look at this poison pill. Let's say Call of Duty is really what they're talking about. 10 years, we'll make sure that you got that. For 10 years, you're going to pay Microsoft.
Yes.
This ain't for free. This ain't you signing the deal and we're just going to give it over. For 10 years, you are bound by contract to pay Microsoft. Microsoft don't care where it goes.
The 30% and not the 18%.
That's right. So everybody's trying to figure out how
on top of how many people leave PS Plus and maybe not buy a PlayStation 5 because they know Call of Duty is in a more value position.
you gotta understand the migration that's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's going to be a mass migration when it's in Game Pass. It doesn't even matter if it's on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's on PlayStation Plus because they still got to play Microsoft. Right? So you're looking at the back end money going straight to Microsoft, and Microsoft is getting fat off of this. Everybody tries to figure out how Microsoft is able to keep pace with Sony financially. Sony outsells them. What they say, outselling them 3-1 or 2-1. Oh, our games is doing this, but bringing up the rear is Microsoft right behind you in money. How is this happening? Because they have their hands in so many diverse different pots that they're not focusing on one thing. The metric is not unit sales. The metric is engagement. They're transferring over. So what Jim is fighting, we have two different ideologies here at play. And, shout out to Lord Cognito. You have different value systems being at play. Sony was too slow because remember, they was making the migration from Japan to the EU. This was a very strategic, great move on their part because you're able to hold up a fantastic deal. The deal is going to go through anyway. Remember, you can't offer something that you don't own.
Yeah.
Right? So Nintendo's not going to put themselves out there in the public saying that we have signed a 10-year deal. Call of Duty on that Switch is monumental.
It's huge, dude. Yeah. Or the Switch, too. I mean, listen, it's...
You know the next Switch, Azure Cloud might be a situation.
Yeah.
See how they changed their wordplay though from the initial announcement when they added Switch
to
this announcement when they just said Nintendo gamers. So they didn't specify specific hardware. They didn't specify specific hardware this time when it came to Nintendo. So yeah, we don't know if that's coming to cloud form or the next iteration of
it.
Yeah.
But see, when they're working with Nvidia, see Nvidia and Nintendo, this is the beauty in the deal. This is the reason why two people talked about. What tech is inside the Nintendo console? What
Nvidia.
tech is inside the next Nintendo console?
Nvidia.
Nvidia. So you can't break off Homeboy without breaking off Homeboy.
Yeah.
So when you got both of them at the table, they were sitting there talking to both of them. Listen, we're gonna go do this, we're gonna do that, and we're gonna announce it this day. Oh, this day?
You said Nintendo made that call to Nvidia, like, "Hey, get on board."
Don't buck up on me. Don't you buck up on me. I need this. I need this. Right? You gonna give me this one? I've been messing with your old Tegra chips for a minute. I've been making it work.
That's this one up.
You owe me this. All right, don't you buck up on this deal.
Hey King, but you know what a lot of people don't talk about? Do you know how much money Nvidia already gets with Microsoft?
Yes.
These people are in bed. And I'm not even talking
The
about
AI partnership
video
that
games,
just-
nothing,
Yeah.
right? I'm talking
Azure
about
partnership.
servers. I'm talking about all the people that's getting gaming PCs.
Yeah.
With,
Well,
they
this is
they
the-
cannot survive without each other.
This is the
So to think
reason
that they-
why.
Yeah.
Soon as they sign that deal, games is available.
Yes,
This is the reason
literally the
why.
same day, King. Yes.
So, okay, as we're seeing this, as we're looking at this, what I took away from all of this, you know that one bully in school?
speak on it, please.
That
Yes.
one bully in school who seems to have the teachers turn a blind eye. You report them, the principal don't do nothing. The group has to come together to oust the dude.
Facts.
And I'm seeing everybody banding together, and they're tired of your practices.
Yo, that's
Yes.
crazy.
They're tired of how you're moving. They're tired of all the background deals. Oh, you want this here?
Yeah, I realized that.
Well, what you have to do, you have to sign this here.
Anti Xbox, anti Game Pass. I
Pick
said,
and
King, I've
preach,
said this
bro.
before. Right now, Sony turns the head of the industry,
Yeah.
and if you don't, if you don't turn, you get bucked off. I'm
But
sorry. That
what
is a
happens-
fact.
What happens now? This deal closes. It's a new sheriff in town,
Yeah, indeed.
and his name is Reggie Hammond.
Hey King, hey King, you know what's the sweetest thing about the bully situation though, right?
Yeah.
You said the bully, see, he in high school, everybody would turn the other eye, right? They would turn the other cheek. He just gets to do whatever he wants. But then when you pull back up to the car wash in the Escalade or the Model 3 or the Model
Oh,
Y,
y'all tripping right now.
and he's working as the car wash attendant because you run things now.
Oh wow. Oh wow. He going there.
And then you just look at him and you say, damn, homie. In high school,
my
you
God.
It was the man, homie.
Oh,
That happened to you.
wow, I love it. Love it.
You. It's watching it, and you know what? I know a lot of people gonna say I feel a lot of salt on this panel.
Ain't no so.
I was there when it happened. Final Fantasy to Nintendo.
Yep.
I was there when Nintendo was top dog. Top dog. All right, the baddest dude in the building, top dog. Sega was running a close 2. Sony came through. Remember, 3. What is Microsoft right now? 3.
All right.
Right? It took one title to propel that 3 to number 1 and didn't look back. Squeezed the throat off the whole industry.
Yeah.
It's going to take that one title to do the same thing to this champion. And this champion had the opportunity to bend the knee and acquiesce. And don't forget, Sony, who can turn the lights off on you with them Zers cloud surface, because you know who run the ship. So you really don't want to buck up. They really not acting crazy. They putting other people in front to make it seem like it's other people. But when they asked them and they subpoenaed them to show up, to show your financials,
March 1st, brother. That's when they're supposed to deliver that paperwork, King.
that deal gonna go through before then. Before that day, they're gonna get to the courtroom and they're gonna be like, "Yeah, we signed. We don't want to show our paperwork out there like that because they don't want the world to see exactly how the bully moves in the background."
Well, they scared. They're scared, and it's not just about Call of Duty. Their way of life, in terms of how they've been able to dominate the industry, is under attack.
Yes.
That buy to play model, right?
Yeah.
Game Pass kind of changed the deal, all right, and they're behind in that, so they're trying to block this deal to slow the industry down so they can catch up. If you, even in Stadia perspective, all right,
That's it.
Even in Stadia perspective, when Yoshida went to the conference to check out Stadia presentation, right? When he was asked about what he thought about that, he said, "We have a lot of catching up to do."
Mhm.
You was there before everybody.
Yeah.
White guy on live.
Post, you said the perfect thing. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I didn't want to forget. By saying what you just said about they want to slow it down to catch up is probably the most accurate thing I've heard in probably a month.
Mhm.
Because that's 100% what they're trying to do, and you can see right through it, right? You can see right through that. What they're trying to do is that they try to slow it down. It's as transparent as glass, and they've been doing this from day one. It's all it is our delay tactics, and these delay tactics. And you know what though? The thing is, it's working. The delay tactics were going to happen anyway because $70 billion does not just pass by someone just going, yeah, all right, whatever, that's fine, don't worry about it. This is not. This is going to face massive amount of scrutiny, right? But on top of that, to be able to delay it even further, look at the fact that I remember what was it, Boom? 13 months ago, I called you, and you didn't even say hello to me. You said generation over, generation over, generation over. It was 13 months ago this happened. They are succeeding in slowing down the progress.
Yeah.
And it's not good. And you know who's suffering in the end? Us. Consumers are suffering.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, brother.
I'd say more the employees of ABK are the ones suffering.
Yeah,
And they're suffering too, man. They're getting fed up, Hargy.
They've been waiting. Like,
Yeah.
you want to be Microsoft employees already.
It's going to force Sony to speed up their plans. Look at Horizon Forbidden West. After 1 year on the market, it's already on their subscription.
Year to the day, post up. Year to the day of launch.
It's going to have to force Sony to do what they don't want to do, and that is launch their first-party titles day and date on their service. They're going to be forced to do that.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
This deal and how this deal will usher in other outside parties to come in to do the same. You already got Google in the wing with Stadia, ready to license that technology to get companies that come in the upper hand already. Because if I'm a company and I come in and I license Stadia, I'm ahead of Sony, who initially got there before everybody. From an infrastructure standpoint.
Remember, they made that $300 million investment in Gaikai.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people,
That's
lot of people
right,
forget about that.
Yeah,
I remember
Yes.
that. Yeah.
So you chose, and I read that quote from one of the executives of Sony, how they were saying, well, we want to wait to cloud and the infrastructure and the power and the internet get to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And then they walked VR in the room and it just took so you chose VR over cloud, right?
That's a passion
Microsoft
project.
chose cloud over VR.
Yeah.
And now you going to cry to the regulators for the choices you made, right?
Yeah.
You see Microsoft come in with the OG Xbox and spend $2 billion on Xbox Live, had 3 data centers at the time. So you know they was looking 15, 20 years down the line, even though internet wasn't even prominent in the home.
Yeah.
Xbox Live kind of helped usher that because that was one of the reasons why I got it, right?
Yep.
You had a choice in the 90s to invest in data centers, but you told developers, oh, y'all got to handle that yourself.
Yeah.
Y'all got to set up your own service. You got to do this. You got to do that yourself. And Microsoft said, look, we're going to take care of this for y'all so y'all can focus on making games. So at this point where you either got to rely on your competitors in order to keep up, and that's your fault from the choices you made. Now, don't go run to the regulators from the decisions that you made. You're the reason why you're behind.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, I mean, good stuff. This is already off. First of all, folks, we've crossed over 700 people here. If you are new finding the channel for the first time, because obviously we have some big guests here, please consider subscribing. Double Barrel Gaming is just a pinch over 200 away from 12K, and we'd love to hit that. Listen, we've been working hard. I stream 5 days a week, 5 different panels, 5 different shows, all great content, and we never use hate to drive clicks or likes or subs. We will not do that. Colt Eastwood, I want to bring you in on the conversation, brother, because you said it a lot of things on Monday's show, which was phenomenal. But you said you forgot some things. Now, Post Up and King mentioned a bully. What I have equated this whole situation to, and I'm going to simplify it, and it's just for fun. The way this is the bully, which is Sony, right? Mm-hmm. They have been beating up the little kids for years. In this case, 2+ decades, right?
Well, I mean,
industry-
they're not beating up the little kids or bullying, but they've certainly tried to snuff out Nintendo early on.
Well, I mean, they
as
killed Sega. I mean, you can say what you want
Yeah, they
about
killed
that. They
Sega.
literally killed Sega.
And
So
others.
really, what I'm getting at, Colt, and I really want to get to your point, is the fact that this particular bully has been the bully for a very long time. And like you've seen on the internet, there's always that video where there's this big hulking bully that's picking on some little kid that's backed into a corner. And what winds up happening is he beats the balls off of this bully. And the next morning, the parents of the bully are like, how dare you let this happen to our kid? That's what's happening here. I think the industry is really tired of having to move where Sony tells them to stand. I'm sorry, that is a fact, folks. I just look at some of the egregious things Sony continues to do, and it's considered, as Phil Spencer would say, a bad actor. It is bad. It is bad gaming policies. Charging you $10 for upgrading graphics or use of your DualSense when you get it free on Xbox. They made the industry go to $70 games. They charge right now publishers and developers a cross-play tax for you to play with other people. Who else does that? How about this? In the history of gaming, we've never seen a console go up $50 after 2 years on the market. We've only seen it go $2. They did it. And you know why they did it? Because they're the market leader. You do what we say. You move where we move. Cole, what do you think was done yesterday in Brussels? Do you think that Microsoft, with teaming up with Nvidia, teaming up with Nintendo, getting the backing publicly of Tencent, it seems like everything is lining up for Microsoft to close this deal? What are your thoughts, dude?
Well, like I said earlier, they've taken away every excuse that PlayStation has. And I would like to start what I have to say as a rhetorical question. Convince me that the ABK deal is bad. And no one can. The only answer I can get from people is Microsoft has to buy their way in. Okay. Is that wrong? Like, didn't PlayStation buy half of their studios? Don't they money hat half of the exclusives that come out from Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo every year? Yes. So convince me this deal is bad. Well, they're going to take games away from people. Well, I'm like, well, okay, so I could tell you with my most certainty of whatever knowledge and experience and expertise I have in the gaming industry for 5 or 6 years, reporting every week, that I think that almost every game from Activision, Blizzard, and King will be multi-platform, with the very, very rare and hiding exception of a new IP, like just maybe Blizzard's new
survival IP,
adventure survival game will be exclusive. And you know what? When that comes out and it gets announced and they say it'll be on PlayStation 5 and PC and everything, I'll go, oh, I'm not surprised. Call of Duty, all of these games. And Gaz talked about there's possibility that High Moon Studios that made this fantastic Cybertron games could be working on a gosh darn it, Deathloop. Is that his name? Deathloop. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. And I'm like, Gaz, I can guarantee that'll be multi-platform. And he's like, oh, why wouldn't they? I'm like, because Xbox not interested in owning someone else's IP or holding on to their IP. So the Activision, Blizzard, and King games will be multi-plat more than so 90% yes, 10% exclusive. So they're not taking anything away. And I've said millions of times, I built that graphic because gosh dang it, Xbox doesn't know how to market and communicate certain things. When this graphic I made that shows the Xbox platform, you're on a TV, you're on a tablet, you're on a phone, you're on a laptop, you're on a gaming PC that can run it. You're on Xbox Series S, you're on Xbox Series X, you're on the Nintendo Switch for some games. Like they said, 56 games are on Nintendo that belong to Xbox. And you're also on an Xbox One through Game Cloud streaming, and I can't think of it, Kindle Fire. Like you are bringing games to more people. And this also shows us that Nintendo is not ready to announce their successor to the Nintendo Switch. They have a powerful console that's coming up that's going to be more powerful than Nintendo Switch. And they've been talking to them. I'm pretty sure Nintendo said, well, we do have this new console we're not ready to unveil yet, but it's going to be able to play AAA games. We'll have more multiplats on it.
Yeah.
And Xbox like, well, we'd like to put Call of Duty on there because, like you guys were explaining earlier in the show, they are going to take a chunk of money from PlayStation to have Call of Duty on there. They're going to take it from Nintendo. They're going to take it from Steam. And it's just a moneymaker. Like King said, it's all about Candy Crush. It's all about making money so they can dump it into this platform. And the thing that ticks me off the most, and I don't get emotional about the Activision Blizzard stuff, but the thing that ticks me off is, here's what Xbox does. They're like, where's my wallet? It's not in here. Yes, it is. So here's what Xbox does. They're like, okay, Satya's like, I want to crack the wallet. I'm all in on gaming. I want to buy some stuff. And he pulls out the debit card. And here comes PlayStation. What are you buying? What are you buying? What's going on here? What are you buying? And so he's like, just take it easy. We're buying Activision Blizzard. We're investing in our brand so we can come up on that 80-20 split. And he's like, well, and then you got PlayStation. You're like, Jim Ryan's like, how much you spending? It's none of your business. Well, where are the games going? That's none of your business. But we rely on Call of Duty. Fine. We'll give you the game for 10 years. You'll get to make money off. We make good money off you guys. They're like, well, but what about us? Like, well, you didn't crack the wallet for 70 billion, did you, Jim? Oh, we don't have that kind of money. And they're like, well, but teacher. And this is this situation that we've been watching for almost a year and a half. And it's finally over. They've taken away all their excuses. Look, the game's going to be everywhere. GeForce Now. They're going to be on all those platforms I described. They're quit crying. Just stop crying. It's ridiculous.
Not only that, though, you got Activision over there that's like, look, I know we've been getting money for a while over there, but I'm about to check a bag over here, and you messing up. You're about to mess up my bread. We got a problem. Then Sony click. Hello, so you not answering my calls now? That's what we on? And you over there snitching? What are we doing here?
It's cold. Was the game Deadpool? Is that what you're talking about? I think not Deathloop. That was
when I say Deathloop, I'm sorry, I'm in the moment, but yeah, Deadpool game, a comic book game. Gaz is hearing that might be something in the works, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was a multiplat.
It's supposed to come out around the time the Deadpool movie comes out.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's a multiplat. And just wait. But if it's exclusive, I mean, I guess we'll just brag. Look what we have.
I mean, well, going in a different model.
Call of Duty and all those legacy games, those games that have touched the platform, like you said, will be multiplat. But those games that haven't touched the platform, those new IPs like that Deadpool, I don't think so, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, my 70 billion is going to go where my 70 billion goes, and you were talking about Call of Duty. This is what the contract states.
Yeah.
You're going to get what you get. Now, if you played nice, we would have thought about it. We'd have put a $70 game over there and, it's only in Game Pass. But again, no, sir. You get the Call of Duty beverage. That's, have you ever gone to a flight and you just got the peanuts? You didn't pay for the bonus package. Well, you didn't pay for the bonus package, sir.
Who's gonna get it, right? Nintendo will get it.
Can't use the overhead luggage.
Yeah, I think Nintendo will get it. Everybody
it reminds me of the old adage. I'll say there's quite a few of us here that come from the old school. Most of us here, except for Wani Dutch, he's the young one. The old child. What was the hen thing about the bread? My mom used to always tell the story about, who's going to help me make the bread? And they're like, not me. And then by the end, whoever helped got to enjoy the baked bread. Yep. And PlayStation is just like, the only work they've done is Jim's got on the flight with the mimosas. He's like, let's see if we can slow down some purchasing that we're not doing. It's none of our business. And the audacity of the regulars, like, huh? And I always make the analogy that it's the, when you go to the playground teacher, she pulled my hair, and they're like, so that's the first person that gets preferential treatment in the courtroom, right? So here's this is the plaintiff and this is the defendant. And Xbox like, what? We were just trying to crack the wallet, try to get something out of get my debit card out. Let me cover lunch. Can't get it. Jim Ryan's like, can't seem to find my checkbook.
I think we only at this point is because when I think soon this deal was announced, Sony ran to the regulators.
No doubt
Sony was
about it.
announced, and they was able to, based off the regulators' lack of understanding of the market, they was able to shape the narrative. So Microsoft been spending more time trying to fight Sony narrative than really trying to say, look, this is why the deal is good, not just for gamers, even for the workers involved, because they didn't make this so much about Call of Duty. The initial reason why a lot of this happened was due to the things and the issues that was going on at Activision.
Isn't it funny how fast everybody forgot about the sexual harassment cases, the people protesting in front of the building, the leadership problems, the people that got fired? Notice how that all disappeared real quick.
Mag, they don't care about that
at all.
That's the hard part about it. That sucks really bad. They don't care about that. But did we just forget that Jim Ryan had a private meeting with the head of the who did he sit down with out there alone not too long ago? I think it was somebody.
Yeah, what was the name?
He had a private meeting.
So you mentioned the name.
Yeah,
someone in the chat hit us up. I forgot
to. He had a private meeting with this guy. I think so.
I see what you did there.
But this guy, he has a private meeting, and they're not ignorant to what's going on.
Of course not.
The squeaky wheel gets paid, right? Gets the oil. So the FTC louder. Squeak them. Somebody's getting paid.
You
the deal's gonna go through. People get paid.
King, you see that big investment Microsoft did into the London Stock Exchange. But anyway, let's
fix those bridges.
Yeah, you know what? Let's bring in Everborn, because obviously he's still under the weather. Everborn, listen, you wanted to give your spiel on this, and then obviously we'll get everybody in here. This is an unprecedented event that happened yesterday, and we're having an unprecedented show with a panel of 10 incredible community members. We are closing in on 800 people live in the chat. Again, I'm trying to. I'll get to the super chats. I'm gonna try and say hello to everyone, because it's like my thing, trying to say hello to everyone. But it's a lot going on, so bear with me. If you're new, once again, I just want to say please consider subscribing to the channel. We'd love to hit the 12K. I don't know if we can hit it today, but maybe 200 of the 800 that are here are not channel members. I mean, not channel members. Subscribe to the channel. Please consider doing so. All you gotta do is hit the button once, subscribe, boom, that's it, and you're good. Break it down for us, everyone.
Yes. Well, first of all, I wasn't gonna come today, but Boom told me who was gonna be on the panel. He said King, he said Post Up, he said Colt. I said it don't matter if I'm sick. I could be in the hospital. I'm getting on this though. Firstly, Post Up. You said something, and I have a difference of opinion from what you said. So you said that Microsoft started this thing, and Sony went to the regulators and did all of this. I think Microsoft knew exactly how this was going to play out, and they knew they were going to be here from day one, because what was the first thing Phil Spencer said the day it was announced? I called Jim Ryan. I made him the offer.
They telegraphed concessions from day one. Absolutely.
Exactly what it was going to be about. So a lot of people are looking at Microsoft saying, oh, they're just giving this away and giving that away. What are they really giving away? Because from the beginning, all they said is we will keep COD multiplat. From the beginning until now, they've only said we will keep COD multiplat. That's it. That's all they've talked about, because that's all they said they're going to give. And it turns out that all the regulators are focusing on the thing that they said they would give. And you know what else Microsoft said? We'll close this thing in 18 months. And if you look at that, means they knew it would be a phase 2, which means they knew we would get here, and they knew the regulators and Sony would focus on Call of Duty. So that's the only thing they've ever offered. And if you look at the time frame from when it's going to end, just because of when the EU case ends, when the CMA case ends, when the China case ends, New Zealand, all of that, and then they will go and try to bring whatever concessions they want to offer to the FTC, and they'll probably close before they get to the trial. Everything is lining up exactly the way they said it was. So everybody keeps looking at the $2 trillion company that has ties to the government all around the world, and the whole world runs on their technology that they're moving around like bumbling idiots, right? They knew this. So that's the first thing. Now the other thing, Boom, I have a difference of opinion with you about Sega and Sony putting them out of business. And I just want to explain this. See, a lot of people say Sony put Sega out of business. I disagree, right? Sega was not prepared for change. Sega didn't have the money in the bank. Sega was infighting with Sega of America and Sega of Japan. So when a big money player came in at the time, Sony was a big money player, they didn't have what it took to weather the storm like Nintendo did. So I don't blame Sony for that. I blame Sega for that, in the same way that if Sony can't keep up when the big money player comes in, that's not Microsoft's fault.
Yeah.
So this is why, and if anything happens to Sony, don't point to Microsoft, point to Sony's lack of, or maybe they're fine. But if anything does happen to them, it's because they weren't prepared. Now back to this deal.
Wait, I just want to rebuttal that, because I might not be around to be rebuttal a little bit.
Go ahead.
I want all the Sony fans to look at my face right now. And somebody mentioned that I wasn't wearing chinchilla. No, I'm wearing
Check them.
Get
it right.
This is real snake. So now that I'm not wearing a chinchilla, I'm wearing a real snake. You can write that one down too. But and you said it from your heart. I love you. I want all the Sony fans to look, because I want to feel like Clubber Lang on you. We did this to you.
Oh, snake over the head. Bite him.
We turned you into an app. You chose VR. You chose wrong. You chose wrong, boy. You should have chose to get that infrastructure right.
Yep.
So when the big money player come through and knock the building down, I want you to look up and say, it was that dude right there. I want you to remember that. So the next time you act up and we scream out and you hear it from the mountaintops, don't you buck up on me. You know, Microsoft did that. So the same way that's, Sony did it to Sega. Sega did a little bit themselves, but Sony came and kicked them off the edge and said, this is Sparta. This is Sparta.
I respect it. So now the funniest thing about all this deal, and this came out, Sony right now does not take the standard 30% cut from COD. They take less than that. Yep. And Microsoft is offering the full 30%.
Yep.
You know why? Because you're not special. You get what everybody else got.
Right.
You see? Right? And then a lot of people are saying, oh, why are you giving up all this to Nvidia? In reality, they didn't give up anything. If you know how GeForce Now works, you are literally signing into your Steam account or your Microsoft account, and you're playing games you already bought from the platform you already bought them from. All GeForce Now is a gaming PC in the cloud. And Activision stopped their titles. So again, people think that Microsoft is giving up more. No, they just said they're going to keep COD everywhere. Why? Because they want the data from COD, right?
Yeah,
the 400
million.
That to you, right?
The 400 million, right? Yeah.
So this is the thing. Now with all of this, what the strategy here is that Microsoft is trying to place Sony on an island. Right.
I think they've done that. I mean, just based on what happened yesterday. I'm gonna be
honest.
Right.
So if you look at just even, I know we're talking about the EU, but if you look at the CMA, in their preliminary findings, they only had two main concerns. Right. It is access to COD. Right. And for the in the console market, and then access to COD in the cloud market. Right. Now, you've effectively taken off one half already with the Nvidia deal. You know why? There's no other players in the cloud, right?
Yep.
Google is no longer a complainer because they're not in the business.
Well, I suppose there's Amazon, right? But it's so minuscule.
Guess what?
Amazon
Guess
one
what?
foot in,
Amazon-
one foot out right now.
Amazon's not complaining though.
Nope, at all.
True. And in fact, they could sign a deal with them anytime. I'm sure they'll sign a deal.
and I suspect that they might, right?
Mhm.
So
In fact, they've been rather quiet,
Yeah,
because
unusually quiet.
Well, but there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't
yeah,
want,
they're-
they don't want
they're-
anybody
They're
looking
in
at
the,
them.
they're
So,
in the crosshairs.
but
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the other thing nobody talks about, maybe you guys talked about this before I got here. Tencent, apparently, according to Seeking Alpha, supports the deal.
Yes, they do.
Right?
Yeah, that's
So,
confirmed.
so now you have Take-Two, because Big Strauss was the first one to come
who
out.
just got subpoenaed? But yeah, go
Right.
ahead. Yep.
Oh, he's naming names, right? So Strauss Zelnick and via Take-Two supports it. Gabe says we don't even need a contract.
They support it.
Nintendo signed the paperwork,
They support
right?
it.
Nintendo is just eating the cheeseburgers with the DA. You see what I'm saying? Now they got
These brothers
now they
cooking
got-
right now.
now they got the co-defendant. Your co-defendant who is sitting next to you in the court, he has not looked you in the eye all morning. And you're like, wait, what? Yo, I just asked you a question.
This is
What's going
legendary.
on?
He's like this.
Yo,
So now,
No, he's like this. Look.
just like that, he won't look
He's
at
moving
you.
over.
did you at least get the McDonald's meal before you switched up on me?
Nvidia turns state's evidence. It wasn't even a Big Mac. You hear me? This was the $3.99 fast
Don't
bundle
tell me it's
meal.
the Cardi B
He
meal.
did- he
This
did-
is the McDouble, bro.
they got a McDouble and a small fries. This is what happened. And they telling everything. So now, right? The CMA says there were 3 people when we did our third party. And we knew the 3 people from the reporting was Sony, Google, and Nvidia. Now, like I said, here's the thing. Google is no longer relevant because they're not in the gaming business anymore.
Correct.
Well, they're not in the Stadia business. They're in the mobile gaming business.
That's
which
what
is
they
why
consider-
they're against this deal.
But again, they were never in question of losing it.
Yeah.
Right. So if they're talking about COD Mobile coming off of the duopoly that they have in the mobile,
It's not
gaming
about that.
business,
It's Microsoft's statements that they're going to challenge Apple and Google.
no,
for
that's
gaming
fantastic.
store
But
rights.
but
Yeah,
I'm
they're gonna
saying
make their
as
own
it
store.
relates to the regulators and their opposition.
But this is where
Google-
the regulators
Apple
should be
and
on
Google-
Microsoft's side, right? Because
Apple-
they
Right,
own
but that's what I'm
the
saying.
duopoly.
I
Apple
made-
and Google own the platform. That's
Right.
kind of there's a different story here.
So-
Apple and Google own the platform that we play on, the mobile,
mobile.
games.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's an interesting point to just think about.
Right. So my point is, Google's concerns are not really relevant, and they pointed this out. If you look at that third party document, they said we take into account that people are kind of speaking self-interest, right? I'm paraphrasing, right?
Yeah,
So
but
now,
that's- yeah.
So now Google doesn't matter anymore, and Nvidia is now in support of the deal. So now the only third parties with concerns are Sony.
Yep.
And Brad Smith was very exact with his words. The regulators will have to make a decision, right? We're going to add 150 million more people, which is conveniently very close to Sony's audience, right? We're going to add 150 million more people that don't have access to it today, or you can side with the person that has 80% market share. Right. And then and you're gonna have to explain, and you're gonna have to justify that, right? So everything yesterday, and this is the other point, and I don't know if you have this on the topic list. Has anyone noticed all of the salt from the games media around?
Yes.
This You have seen them come out today.
In
This is
droves.
diabetic levels of sodium. You understand
Right,
what I'm
some of the
saying?
same talking points in the article
Right?
too.
They are the most feared woman on Twitter right now is Lulu.
Yes.
Yeah, Lulu Chang. She
They-
is a champion of justice.
And
So-
she just checked
so-
Christopher too.
Oh, she did, and she
they
had
have-
every
they
right
have
to do
update
because
the article.
he should have
but
known
She's
better.
a master in a world of peasants.
But the point is, every time she tweets, now there's think piece articles of why this is so unprofessional, right?
Yep.
Everything they say, like they can't handle it because you really see before it was all cool when they thought Sony had the upper hand.
Yep.
Yesterday was the first time they thought, oh,
Yep.
Microsoft might get this done.
But Everborn,
And then you saw the true emotions.
it's
Yep.
the reason why the media is acting like this, and this will be my last part before I go. I had to leave at 8. Is because they took years to suck up to Sony.
Yep.
They was sucking up to Sony for years,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all sitting in chair like, not like this, Sony, because the same time they was bashing Microsoft, they was sucking up to Sony. See, boss, this is exactly what you was asking for. This is exactly what I did.
And
This
off.
is exactly it right here.
Slander.
And it drops in front of them. Now they no longer own the situation. That situation is about to be done, and you can see it. It's foreshadowing. You can see it happening, and they trying to pivot. They don't know how to pivot. You have individuals that used to have a YouTube channel, and they're little red guys. That's why I'm wearing this red suit. You know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about you. So,
Oh man.
you built a career off of disrespecting Microsoft, but now you're about to eat a whole bunch of bag of crow. And
I was gonna say a bag of dicks. Pause.
Yeah.
Well,
Pause.
there's that too.
Pause. I'm not gonna serve them those platters.
Are you
But
talking
you-
about hot dogs?
Boom. How
Regulated to Twitter
so
now.
Footlongs is what they're gonna be gobbling down. Pause.
I just want everybody to know, and just look at this little piece of time that we have here, this little encapsulation of time. As you can see, the media scrounge and look around. All the people on this panel here, I mean, we're all gamers, but we all have our little preferences, and we pretty much everybody here owns all consoles. But our preference is, green. I bleed green.
You also wear green too.
Yes, sir. So, but today I'm wearing red to,
in honor of that Nintendo
yeah,
game.
for that guy. But I just want to know that I want everybody to know we're watching the media having to pivot.
Yep, they're scrambling literally
they
right
have
now as
to-
we speak in front
They
of
have
us.
to praise
old
Microsoft at
media?
some point in time.
Call them old media.
And and they don't want to do that. But gentlemen, y'all have a blessed night.
King,
I'm
thanks
gonna
so
go
much, brother.
upstairs.
We
I'm gonna
definitely love
watch
you.
All right, brother.
Appreciate you being here.
We'll see you
I
soon.
can't wait to hear the
Absolutely,
stuff,
bro.
man.
Yeah.
Get well,
King.
Everborn. Get well.
Thank
So
you. And
good
to
sharing the
your
panel with
point,
you, brother.
when the grass is cut, the snakes will show.
Yeah.
And the grass is green.
Oh my God.
Go touch some Xbox grass. There you go. Listen, again, this
one
has
last
been
point.
Leave too.
what's that?
Cole, did you have to head out soon as well?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, yeah, I just saw that too, yeah.
This has been legendary. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah, you're right. My good friend said once this started to come to a head, the real people would show their faces and their true colors.
Yep.
And they really have. And I have, for many years, I've been the last to say media bias. I don't even really use the term. I just say there's double standards, and I get annoyed by that, but we've seen it. There is a ridiculous media bias, and it's weird. It's super weird. I just think that it really came down to they weren't looking for fairness. They weren't looking for healthy competition. They were looking for unchecked competition for PlayStation. PlayStation is a great platform. They provided amazing experiences. They've helped build the industry alongside Nintendo, and Xbox has been, coming right along, and they've stumbled for a decade. And I've complained about that, but here they are since 2018 and 2019, since this generation started, have almost as many first-party games as PlayStation, have the same, if not better, first-party quality rated games in PlayStation, which is a shock because the perception is the other way. And by the end of this year, they'll have as many games as PlayStation first party. They'll have, like I said, probably the same, if not a better Metacritic or OpenCritic score overall. Meaning their first party stuff's great. The third party stuff kind of sucks sometimes. I didn't like some of those games, but that's for another topic. But I'm really excited about where Xbox is going. They need to open up their mouth and start talking about it more. I think we're going to see an announcement where Starfield is going next, maybe here in at the end of the month, if not the first part of March. It's good. It's gonna be a good time, and I'm here for it. So thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks,
Everybody,
Cole. Definitely appreciate
you guys
it,
are
brother.
all hilarious. You crack me up.
Salute to you, bro.
Hit the like
See you,
button.
brother.
You know, nobody's really said it tonight. Hit the like
Thank
button,
you,
show your
sir.
support for Double Bear Gaming, for BoomStick XL, and I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Have
Thanks,
a good
Cole.
night,
Appreciate
and
it, brother. Thanks so much.
don't become a Sony.
I'll see you, brother.
All
All right,
Take
later.
care, Cole. Later, guys.
Okay, so just
All right.
the last thing I wanted to add before I completely lose my voice again.
Okay.
Is be prepared, folks. If you think it is bad now, wait until the deal closes. You understand? There will be a media onslaught like you've never seen, and I'm talking about worse than the Xbox One launch. There
Yeah,
will be
I agree.
Which was
Hold on.
deserved by the way.
Hold on. I'm actually going to disagree, but I'll let you finish before you lose your voice. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So there will be a gut reaction. I know what you're going to say, that they're going to have to fall in line because there will be a new king in town. But when it happens, the shock, it will be like the night of an election, right? When you didn't think somebody was going to win. Like they are going to write all the think pieces in the world, and Redmond will be the home of the Death Star. And
You're not wrong. You're
will be
it's
Darth
going to go
Vader,
beyond gaming.
and
It's
will
going to
be
go
the
beyond gaming.
evil corporation, and they will pile on
Yep.
like you have never seen before. I'm telling you, be prepared for it.
I mean, you're starting
The
to see that
entire
now.
media
I
is
mean,
going
to your point, I mean, look, first of all, Lulu has been lighting up the airwaves. She's been lighting up Twitter, and she's given it the same way Sony's been giving it for years, right? Like we've seen, this is how you share games. That literally won a generation for Sony. And she's out there, and she represents Activision Blizzard. Obviously, she has a very, very high position in Activision. So she obviously is defending the deal going through. I don't think anything that she has done has been nothing short of hilarious. I mean, you know, the picture of the guy riding the bike and putting the thing in the spoke.
Yeah,
that's literally Sony what they're doing. And I have people say, you know, there were several of them, some real nasty ones. And I'm like, I don't understand. What did she do that was so wrong? Sony's been doing this for years, and you guys and gals applauded it.
Sony
You thought it
went
was
beyond
gospel.
that, though. Sony went beyond that. She put out a meme. They took that "This is how you share" game and made it an ad.
Yes,
that was an ad. You popped up on YouTube, the YouTube ads and all. It was actually an ad.
And that's what back when YouTube wasn't much compared to what it is now.
This is a meme. They turned that into an ad, and you know that's crazy.
And the rest is history. But everyone, before we get you out of here, brother, you have any closing points before you go?
No, I think I covered it all. Just watch it, because this deal is going to pass or fail in the next 3 to 4 weeks. We will see everything come into light. We will see all this evidence. We will see the dominoes begin to fall. And I'm not saying it will close in 3 to 4 weeks. I'm saying we will know whether it will close in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So this is the time. The tears are going to be at an all-time high. Lulu is going to be causing people not to be able to sleep, right? Like, you thought Xbox fans were mad at Lena Khan. The way these PlayStation people are mad at Lulu, it is a sight to behold. So these are fun times. I will be listening in the background. I need to go have some tea with honey and lemon.
Go have some tea, brother. Make sure you have some lemon today. I mean, some.
I had
some
to
honey,
show up.
yeah.
Rain, sleet, or shine for this.
You're starting to sound like me, so
yeah.
But to your point, Elborn, if you look at what happened yesterday in the articles that's coming out now, despite Microsoft making those moves, they're still saying, "Look, this deal don't pass without Sony," as if Sony is the end all be all in terms
It's
of,
crazy. Yeah.
and that's the narrative they're writing right now. Like,
well, as a matter of fact, we saw GameIndustry.biz. Chris, whatever his last name is, said that this, that without Sony, this feels like a meatless sandwich.
Eurogamer came out.
Wow, like I don't understand. Nintendo, say what you want about them folks.
Oh, apparently they're just a fitness company. You know?
They're just a fitness app, apparently. Yeah, I mean, go figure. They literally saved the gaming industry in '85 with the NES, but they're not responsible for anything.
Well, they
they're
only
just
happen to have some of the largest franchises in gaming. Pokemon, nobody's heard of that. No,
they're longer than both companies too.
God of War by like 2 to 1. No, it doesn't exist. I'm sure.
Well, they are a fitness app because when I hear Nintendo, I run the other way, so it kind of gets my cardio in. So it kind of is a bit of a fitness app.
Listen, Hargy,
last thing I'll say before I get out of here. The reason Activision probably subpoenaed, because it was Activision that subpoenaed Nintendo, because Activision is probably going to have them show that they do have their next console coming out and it is on par with the Series S, and placing it in the high console, high performance console thing, and boom, bam, you can't exclude them anymore if you want to. But that's it. I'm done. My voice is getting worse. You guys, shout out to everybody. I will be clapping in the background.
All right, brother. Thanks so much for being there. We'll talk to you soon. Listen, Hargeet, before I bring you in on the conversation, brother, let me just catch up on the super chats. I mean, there's been a lot of them, and I couldn't get to them yesterday. I have to get to them today. Let me just start off with Highlander 001 drops several super chats. The first one of $10. He says, "Evening Boom and panel. When I see an Xbox podcast like this, it's about Xbox good or bad. When ponies get together like this, it's Xbox is bad, and Phil Spencer must go. I guess they're scared of Phil." The Gamers DMZ, wow, he drops a very generous and outstanding $25 super chat and says, I'm the pessimistic one and do not trust the regulators. CMA equals the sixth man for Sony. Shout out to Post Up representing the south side of Chi-Town. King David, a donation to the Lord is forthcoming when I watch live, by the way. Lulu rules. Indeed, she does. Highlander 001 drops 3 additional super chats. The first one of $5 says, off topic, I had carpal tunnel surgery yesterday. Oh, my goodness, dude. I hope you're feeling better. And he says, my daughter is saying finally she can get first place on her arcade since I cannot game. Oh, that is hilarious, dude. He drops another one. Feel better, by the way, Highlander. He says the numbers Brad used in their answers came from Sony's investors report itself. I said that would bite that Sony in the butt, and it did. And he drops an additional $2 super chat and says, This is not a panel. This is a firing squad for Sony. Thank you so much for that. Moneybag 97 drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, Switch Call of Duty Mobile Warzone mobile. Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility for sure. Nady Nay drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, wow, what a great panel. I've never had to turn my phone sideways to see everyone. I might have to put y'all on the 75-inch TCL. Boom, make this cast available for PlayStation VR 2 when you get bored of climbing. That is hilarious. Brett Bingham drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, Sega walking into the circle next to Microsoft and handing them the knife while Sony is surrounded. Poetic justice. Yeah, that's funny. Adidas 20 drops an additional. Am I reading that right? Is that a $50 super chat? Wow, dude. Like, I don't understand why you I can all say thank you. It's going to be, trust me when I tell you, when we get these big super chats, put them back right into the community. If you didn't know, we, my wife and I, to support Ukraine, to support the developers of Stalker 2, we have announced that we are purchasing and giving away 15 copies of Stalker 2 on your choice of platform, PC or Xbox, when it releases, so that the families will get the 70% that they're due. And it's just our small way of, doing something big. So thank you very much for that. Adidas 20. He says Sony did not think Microsoft would offer Call of Duty to Nintendo and Nvidia. second, Sony knew next year that they would lose the marketing to Call of Duty. Also, we will see Xbox on the future Call of Duty commercials. Yeah, absolutely. After 2024, that's it.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you so much for that very generous super chat. Dreadful Sean, hey Dreadful Sean, welcome to the program. He drops a $5 super chat and says Sony is scared of history repeating itself with them looking on from the outside. I mean, that's possible. Chris Lee drops a very generous $5 super chat. Stay Boom and chat, sitting in front of the Wells Fargo Center, working but actually watching the show. Ah, dude, that's awesome. Great panel tonight. Hit that like button, y'all. Thank you for that. We also have a 20 CA dollar super chat and from David Chimenti. And he says very simply, Sony RIP. I mean, well, I don't think they're going to rest in peace. I think they're going to be a restless spirit for sure. Joanna Dark, good friend of the program, just a $5 super chat and says, I want to say hello to you, Mr. Boom, and the incredible panel and guests this evening. Everborn, where are them knees? Kratos outsold Sonic and DT did. Nady Nay drops additional $2 super chat and says, this deal has really made Sony adaptive triggered. That is hilarious.
That's funny.
On the bright side, drops a $5 super chat and says the only thing missing after Nvidia's blindside yesterday was Jeff probably telling Sony the tribe has spoken. It's time to go. Oh my goodness.
Survivor
Alvin.
reference. I like it.
I love it. That is good stuff. Alvin drops a very generous $5 super chat and says Lulu out there like Boricua burning cities down with hot fire. Indeed. Drawn TJ drops 2 super chats. He says, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for that, Drawn TJ. And the second one, he says, the deal will go through. Indeed, it will. Brett Bingham drops a $5 super chat and says, breaking news, Nintendo acquiring Gold's Gym. That is hilarious. And East Texas Alex, who's been a channel member for 10 months, says, hello, everyone. Great to see this mega podcast. God bless you all. Thank you for that. And he has gifted 5 Double Barrel Gaming memberships.
Nice.
Ooh, dude, thank you so much for that. That is very kind of you. Hargeet, listen, you have been a big proponent for this deal for a multitude of reasons. You are an Xbox guy through and through. It is what it is. What happened when you saw this yesterday? Were you like sitting back like that GIF eating the popcorn as this was happening in real time?
So look, I've been waiting for this to happen, right? I knew this was coming, right? At some point, we were going to hear Microsoft's strategy, right? And this was it. This was like, we're going to counter everything you said. They've never had the opportunity up to now, right? We've been hearing all this stuff from one side, and it's mostly been Sony-fed information that the regulators, well, these three have been kind of just regurgitating back to us, right? So fine, we heard Sony's side of it. I was waiting for Microsoft's rebuttal, and we got a part of it with the notices they sent, right? In response to the issues that the regulators put out, right? So we got one set of documents from Microsoft, very cordial and nice, but hey, you got these things wrong. We think these are wrong. And then we got the nice Activision one that said, hey, you guys are morons. You don't know what the heck you're talking about. Why are you even here, right? And that was great. But this was how they're going to actually tackle it, right? Is bring it to them. They asked for this. Microsoft wanted this, right? And said, this is how we're going to bring it to them. And we're going to tell you from the perspective of the industry, not the perspective of Sony, why this is good, right? And this is what they should have done. Now, here are the things. The things that they complained about are cloud. They complained about consoles. And they complained about subscriptions, but then dropped subscriptions, right? So most of the regulators have now said, okay, fine, we don't worry about that one. But the other two they care about. Well, both of those have been taken care of at this point. Nintendo is the number one console. That's just a fact. Yeah. It's the number one console. So, and they said they're putting Call of Duty today on Switch. They're going to put it on that console. You give it to them today, they're going to put it on that console. That problem solved. If Sony gets it or not is irrelevant at this point. Another console competitor is getting it. The number one console is getting it. They've got that deal signed up. If Sony wants to come to the table, great. If they don't, that's up to them, right? They've allayed that fear. It's done. If the regulators aren't bullshit and they're actually in the pocket of Sony, because that is what they seem like they are.
Absolutely,
right?
100%.
So if they're not about that and they're really about the consumer, well, they've already got what they want, right? Nintendo, the number one console, is getting Call of Duty for 10 years. They're getting it, right? And whether the next console is going to be that good or not, I don't know. But it's Nintendo. Their history's pretty damn good, right? They generally sell quite a few of their consoles. So that's a competitor that's going to do better than Xbox, and it's going to have this game. Cloud, the other big player, Nvidia, is getting the games too. No problem, right? And if anybody else wants to come in, Microsoft is not going to sit there and say no. They're going to say, go ahead. The strategy here with ABK was not to create more content for Xbox. It was to create more content for Game Pass. It was to create more subscribers to their system. Right? They're looking for more people to come to them. Right? That's what they're trying to do. They want to expand their gaming. Several of us have said the same thing. They're looking for engagement. Right? They like Microsoft themselves, right? The company themselves. They're in co-opetition with everybody. Sony has to buy Windows to make their games. That's the way it is. They're developing their games on Windows. That's how it is. They have a contract with Microsoft. That's how you got the Azure deal, right? Microsoft is everywhere. That doesn't mean they can't compete with them, but they tend to do it in a different way. They try to be cooperative and compete with them, right? And they do that to everybody, right? Fine. That's what they try to do here too. They're okay with putting their stuff everywhere. They just want to have people buy their stuff. That's more money for them. That's what they're looking to do. Yes, they'll have an ecosystem that has Game Pass, and Game Pass will be the driver of, hey, if you want to play on console, Game Pass is on Xbox. Come to the Xbox console, and you can have Game Pass. You want to be on PC? No problem. We got Game Pass on PC. You want anybody else's platform? We're happy to sell you a game for $70. Enjoy. No problem. We're good with that. And they're going to be good with that. They're buying these big established publishers, and they have to just deal with it. It is what it is, right? So they're not going to take every game away. Fine. There might be a lot of games that come that are going to transition, right? There are many games in the ABK portfolio that are PC only. They're older games. Maybe they remaster them. They say, let's put that on console. That may not come to other consoles. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't, right? Depending on what Microsoft feels. But those big games that are out there already, Overwatch, that's never going to be single console. What would be the point? You want as many players as possible for that game. That's the point. Call of Duty is the same thing. You want engagement. You want more players. That's
you want microtransactions being
exactly.
paid for.
You want to Minecraft.
Say Rocket League is still a thing, people.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so I don't see them taking that away. World of Warcraft only exists on PC. Maybe it comes to console. Maybe it is exclusive. Maybe it stays Xbox only. Fair enough, right? But it's never been on any other console. Like, they're going to play this game with all of it, right? The good thing for Microsoft is that everybody the only people that complain with Sony, right, complain about one game. Out of the hundreds of games that ABK has, they complained about one game. Cool. Let's focus on that one game. And they've made that, the issues that the regulators had, they've taken it out. It's not a problem anymore, unless, of course, the intent of the regulators is to protect Sony. If that's their job, which I don't know if it is, it shouldn't be, but if that's their job, then they're going to try to create a deal with Sony, right? And Sony's the one sitting there, I'm not going to make a deal. Well, okay, at some point, they're going to have to come to the table and do something, right? And it can't just be, oh, you have to get rid of Activision and not buy it. That's really not part of the deal.
There's no way that, to that point, Hargeet, you make that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
because everyone thinks, oh, just cut the piece of fat and Call of Duty off. And you can't do that. And I'm glad that Brad Smith actually talked about that, because here's the thing.
Exactly.
We get into a situation. Well, wait a second. The last Call of Duty was made by 8 studios. Why are we buying this then? What do we do? Do we sell 7 studios and keep 1? Do we keep 7 and send Infinity Ward? Do we just sell the IP? It's impossible.
And who would buy them? Who would buy them? Take-Two would be the only option, and Take-Two just bought Zynga for $13 billion.
Yes,
I think
they're not going to buy them. Who's going to buy them? EA. They have their own IPs that they are very much competing with Call of Duty on, right? So are they going to drop those IPs and replace it with Call of Duty? Is Apex going away? I don't think so. They're going to keep their stuff. I don't see EA buying them. EA wants to be bought themselves. I don't see how that's a thing, right? Who else is going to buy them? Tencent? Good luck. Let's go sell the biggest freaking FPS to Tencent, right? The whole thing is bogus. There is no divestiture that's viable. The only company that can buy them is Microsoft or Google, who they won't let buy anything either, and Amazon, who they won't let buy anything either, right? Is Apple going to jump in the fray?
Google is tied up with regulators. They've been tied up with regulators over the last 10 to 15 years. They ain't got no way to
quiet, which is smart.
Yeah,
I'll give them that.
Yeah, well, so look, if it was Steve Jobs, you might even do it, right? But Tim Cook he's not going to go out there and just
No.
go buy a massive company like that when he has no established in-house gaming thing at all, right? All they do is they take money from other people putting games in iOS.
Yep.
Good for them. They make 10+ billion in profit every year.
They have 100 million subscribers to Apple
Other
Arcade.
people's stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. But they do not have an established gaming production process for themselves. Maybe they get into it, but I would expect them to say, let's start small, understand what the heck we're doing, and then get into it. That's the Tim Cook thing. He does not jump. Steve Jobs might have. Steve Jobs might have jumped, but
Yeah,
I just don't
agree.
see
I
Tim
agree
Cook
with that.
doing that.
Steve Jobs might have.
So
would have been
who's left?
jumped.
Who's going to buy them? Meta?
Well, there you go.
Barely
That just
get within. Look,
Yeah.
they barely get. Come on.
I think Steve Jobs would have
Come
been
on.
slid them into gaming.
So it's there is no other option here, right? So it's going to be behavioral remedies, and if Sony wants to come to the table, they can come to the table. I would love to see this happen. Sony gets nothing; they don't get Call of Duty after 2024. Go to hell.
yeah, I agree.
Nintendo has the deal.
I would say
Nintendo
this,
gets
though.
Call
They're
of
not
Duty
going
from
to
now
do
on.
that though. They're not.
Microsoft won't. I know. Phil won't. They will absolutely try everything they can. If it was me, I'd say Sony, take a hike. Go.
I would say this though. The most important thing is the opposite end of this. Is that Activision needs this deal more than Microsoft.
100%. Yeah.
I think we always look at this from Microsoft, but Activision really wants this deal because
They're going to lose their workers, bro. I'm
Yeah,
telling
that's
you.
true,
It doesn't
but
Aren't they the ones that approached them about this to begin with?
Yes.
yeah,
Right? Because Microsoft had no interest in it. All of a sudden, they just show up to their door and like, "Hey, we got an offer for you."
Yeah,
that's
that's
So
So
literally what
Microsoft
happened.
wasn't
They
actively
were
seeking
dying.
this.
yeah.
Right,
Candy
they were having
Crush is
trouble.
big in the mobile space. Activision just launched, I think, Call of Duty in Austria, the mobile version of Call of Duty. Activision needs help in terms of resources and infrastructure to take on the titans in the mobile spaces, your ByteDance, your Tencents, things like that. So they need help. They can't fight that alone. And the finances from Call of Duty, it won't be enough.
Yeah.
It won't be
No,
enough.
they listen. Here's a fact that Kay Asante and I were talking, and Kay, we're gonna bring you in on the conversation. A lot of people don't understand this. Everyone thinks, "Oh, Call of Duty makes so much money." Call of Duty is funded by King and Blizzard. The monies that come in from Candy Crush and WoW and everything else that Blizzard, those monies, folks. And it's a confirmed fact. Go look it up. It's very easy to check out what investments are going from profits to investment in Call of Duty. Call of Duty is their most expensive game that they make. That's why 8 studios are making this game, because they're trying to. The monies that they can. I'll put it this way to keep it simplistic, Case Ante. They cannot make a $200 million Call of Duty with just Call of Duty money. They cannot.
No. Yeah, or just Call of Duty Studios, because there are no such thing as Call of Duty Studios anymore.
They took all the other ones.
Exactly.
Call of Duty Studios.
Exactly. All of them are now Call of Duty
Yeah.
Studios. So if you actually want to divest properly Call of Duty, you're gonna have to crack like Blizzard in half and take it with you. You're gonna have to give all the support studios there, and even that, they're gonna have to borrow money in order to continue making the game, in order to then be successful and hopefully get that money back. It's like taking 2 of the 4 chairs, four legs of a chair, and expecting it to stand on its own.
Yeah.
This is not gonna happen. It's not feasible, as Brad Smith just said. I mean, I mean, so much of it has already been said. And
Well, let's get your hot take on it, because you have some really fine
One thing I will say.
points.
One thing I will say on the Nvidia situation, I could have called that a while ago, and I actually did call it. Check the show.
Yeah, you sure did.
I
Yeah,
called
he
it a
absolutely did
long
say
time
that.
ago.
Yep. Mhm.
Nvidia never had a problem with this deal, ever. And yeah, they had a little bit of the salt because the lawyers changed hands back in the day. None of that mattered, right? I was one of the first people to be part of GeForce Now, and for the first week, it was the glorious shining hill on the beacon on a hill. Anybody who has any game, you can play it. And then all of a sudden, the publishers went, huh? Right? All of a sudden, money started changing hands, and they went, what are we talking about here? You own this game, but you can't have it anywhere. It's like going to your friend's house and signing in with your account, and they went, you got to pay us extra before you can sign in at your friend's house, right? Now, of course, the friend's house being the cloud, right? The server in the cloud. It's literally a remake of OnLive, right? PC in the cloud, you sign in, you get access to it, right? So the minute I heard Nvidia was having this conversation, it was cloud related. I'm like, they just want a seat at the table, baby. They don't even want to have a problem, right? They want to give you, they literally want the benefit of being able to come at the table, sit there, and then pay you so that their users can keep playing the game that they already own. That's all they wanted. Right?
Because giving out these cars, we
want some too, right? Yep. Like in the beginning, Ubisoft took their games out. All of them took their games out, right? And then little by little, they started coming back. What happened? Because Ubisoft went and took the bag. And then this other company went and took the bag. They all did that. Take-Two and Activision Blizzard tend to be really hard asses when it comes to that. To this day, you can't record captured footage on an Xbox if you play like Max Payne 3. Why? Because Take-Two doesn't want you to be able to record it on there. Try it. Go try it. You cannot record unless you use a third-party like capture app that records everything. You can't actually record. Why? Because Take-Two doesn't want you to do that. Go look it up right now.
Never knew that.
Right?
Wow,
yes.
that's crazy.
Activision Blizzard didn't want you to be able to play your games in the cloud. Even though GeForce was like, yo, here's the bag. Tell us how much you want. We'll give you the bag. And we're not giving the game for free. We're just letting those who've paid for it already be able to access it on the cloud. They went, nope, we're taking our ball and going home. Right? So the minute we knew that GeForce Now and Nvidia was talking about it, I knew that's all they wanted. They just want to give you the bag so that they can then continue getting their service right. That's it, right? So when this whole thing happened and I saw them having this conversation, I'm like, oh, that shoe's dropping easy, and here you go, right?
I mean, they made that hint, right? So they didn't even say it was like, we are against this deal. Like, we have hesitations.
Exactly.
It's very minuscule. It's like they just wanted their bag.
Oh, people have they have a problem. I'm like, if you have a problem, if you think they have a problem, you haven't been paying attention. They just want to be made whole like every other place did.
We just want them to share.
That's right.
Be fair and share the content.
Yep.
And as Everborn has already said, he and I were talking about it this morning. People who say, "Oh, Microsoft gave up too much," they gave up absolutely nothing and got everything in return.
Yeah.
What did they give up? They just now whoever happened to own an Nvidia game, Activision Blizzard game, can now log into your service and it pops right back up. Why did it happen? Why did they make the announcement this morning in the morning and then in the afternoon it was available? Because it was there before they were forced to take it down. It's not work. They literally just hit the button and it went back because that's where it was in the first place. There was no change, right? And those who say, "Oh, they're giving up too much." This is not Game Pass, people. The minute you sign into Game Pass, there they are because it's part of your subscription. You sign into GeForce Now and you don't own that game, you're still not seeing it. This is just you, consumer, being able to play that $70 or $60 game that you paid for now on GeForce Now, right? Which it's a very small, teeny tiny uplift for Microsoft. They will ultimately get a bag for it. But what does that do in the long run? It shows the regulators, hey, this is what they said they would do, and look at them. They're actively doing so. They even went further than that and went, oh, screw Activision Blizzard, all Xbox games now. If you have the game someplace else, Forza for Horizon 5, you couldn't play it on GeForce Now. Now you can.
You can,
because you can totally just we're giving it to you. It's all good because at the end of the day, you've already paid for that. This is not a subscription service that you now get extra benefits from. You're just getting the benefits you originally had, right? But on the Xbox, on the benefit to Microsoft side, it shows the regulators a lot what they're doing here, right?
You mean what we say.
Exactly. So the point I want to make, and the thing I want to add to this conversation, because so much great conversation, so much great points have been made. People are out there getting very upset and they're being performative. Oh, it's almost Trumpian. I was gonna swear. I'm gonna keep it together. Some people will say, "Oh, how they're communicating is not how you should communicate." There's a very strategic reason why they are out in public. They insisted on having a hearing rather than keeping it behind closed doors. All of you folks out here and the people who've been paying attention to this have this innate sense that there's some corruption in the works. How is it that this simple thing can become so convoluted in the back room? Yeah, they are now weaponizing your thoughts. They are now using that against the CMA. They're using that against the EU. Sony got nothing to do with this at this point. because Sony gonna do what Sony gonna do. After the second time a dog bites you, it's your fault, not the dog's. Right? They have already recognized what Sony's gonna do. So every time they wave around the contract, they're not saying that to Sony. They're literally saying that to all the regulatory bodies, saying, look, here's our public stance. Look at how many people agree with us. Look at what's happening. And now look at your number one, like a proponent to this, the one who's all about, no, this is not going to work, this and that. Let's see how they respond. Because let me fill you in, and unfortunately, Mr. Everborn Saga left us, so I will be the one filling you with some conspiracy theories. And I am so convinced that I am right about this. Sony was lying from day one. They don't want a sweetheart deal. They don't want a good deal. They can have an in perpetuity contract in front of them, which is impossible to write in legally speak. But if they had it, they wouldn't take it. Why are they saying this? They're saying this not because, oh, the deal isn't sweet enough. Oh, it's not sweetheart enough. It's because the moment that this thing happens, it breaks their complete. Because look, every single acolyte of Sony's is like, oh, well, our games are too expensive to be putting on a subscription service. Oh, that's just fodder, this and that. The moment Game Pass has that AAA banger that kills every other game every year, yeah, your argument's now hogwash. Right? The moment that hits that thing, all of a sudden, it doesn't matter anymore. What else are you going to say, Sony? Full of crap, because look what's happening on this side. Oh, you want to still keep paying for it? Nah, look what's happening on that side, right? So because of that, there is no way, it doesn't matter how sweet the deal is. They do not want to accept it because they're hoping that somehow, some way, it will be broken, right? So that's the reason why Microsoft is being so performative. Because, hey, we're taking you at your word. You want a sweetheart deal. They'll give you a 15-year deal if you so choose. They will put it all out there because they want you to basically like alienate yourself, right? Isolate from everyone and go, hey, we're taking the sweetheart deals. Now it's the entire gaming industry that's like, oh yeah, deals for everybody. Here we go. Except for the one that was complaining about the deal in the first place. Still mums the word, still quiet. Because they're not being honest in what they wanted in the first place. They just wanted this thing dead, right? And unfortunately, here we are now, 4D chess has been played and you are now on an island by yourself going, okay, so do we take this quote unquote sweetheart deal? Or do we just keep letting it go the way it goes? Because at this point, all that's important are these regulators looking around, right? Because if they are still, like Hargeet's going, if they are still on Sony's side, then it's very performative. And everyone, it doesn't matter what kind of analyst you are or Joe Schmo six-pack that plays games after work, you will see that and go, come on now, this is corruption to its hilt. Yeah. So if they are going to present an actual fight against this deal now, it has to be in public. That is the reason why Brad Smith is waving around the deals. Because he knows that if you keep it in the back room, you can do one of these yada, yada, yada shady things, and then it's gone. Yes. They finally realized that it's time to weaponize y'all thoughts for their own benefit. And that's why we are where we are. That's why Lulu Chang, and shout out to her, she's very communicative, by the way. You speak to her, she'll speak to you. She's really cool like that.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's cool. Like that's why she's out there going, I'm not going to speak legalese. I'm not going to speak. I'm going to speak like you.
I'm going to tell it like it is.
Because then you understand what we're trying to do. I'm going to speak in the voice that you understand. Right? And after that, if these regulators, for wherever they happen to be, whether it's FTC or whatever, anytime they come with their speak, you as the consumer are gonna expect the same level of logic from them. And when that doesn't happen, the pitchforks come off from off stage, and people are gonna be working for Microsoft, for Xbox, rather than against them. Right? Yeah. So I think it's a very good strategy. As Everborn has said, and he and I have been going back and forth for a while about this. They knew from day one all of the back and forth that they'd have to go through. They Babe Ruth their shot like this far for a long time, and every time something comes up, they have an answer quickly. Every time something new comes up, another answer. They have never been caught off guard by a single one of these things, right? They haven't been caught off guard once in this whole entire thing. Yeah, all this consternation, all this back and forth, this and that. America is the American FTC is joked about at this point. because
Yeah.
they don't really matter.
They're
at
an
this point.
embarrassment of
right?
American government.
Yes.
100%.
So I would just let it lie and say none of this is surprising to me. It's that meme all going according to plan. You know what I'm saying? That's what this is right here. That's what this is. And I'm looking forward to when this is all said and done and what else that's in the background that we're not privy to. Because once it's all said and done, man, it will be out there. I'm looking forward to seeing how the timeline works, because if the timeline works well, we may get the end of this deal as well as the forced document release of Sony. Oh boy, that is the one I am waiting for, because man, those documents will speak, and the salt
You see
the salt
Sony
that
now-
cause people. I'm sorry.
Was it King who said that basically they're going to sign the deal before they actually release?
Well, see,
it?
that's the thing. It's timing.
I don't think he's wrong.
It is.
I think
it is
Sony has
absolute
no
timing.
interest in releasing any documents.
Yeah, because at this point they are now being compelled, right? And they have a deadline. So if that deal is signed and the need for the document becomes null and void, it's all over.
Yeah.
I don't think that they've kind of played their hand a bit too much, and they've delayed and delayed and delayed, and now you have judges who have a vested interest in seeing that it is done, right? So there is a chance that whether the deal is like almost inked paper, they'll go, nah, Sony, we need to see that because you promised multiple times, and here we are. Where is it, right? If those documents come out, not only will this deal be signed, but boy, the egg on the face will be, oh my God, it will be tremendous.
Dude, the journalistic community, you know how good they are.
Oh boy,
are coming out in full force. I'm not going to say who the guy is. I'm going to I'm going to read the comment because again, one thing I will not stand for is attacks. And bullying.
Very bad taste.
We don't do that. So I'm gonna read what the quote is, and they're replying to Colin Moriarty, which obviously he's Mr. PlayStation. And I like Colin. I mean, he is who he is. He wears it on his sleeve. You like him, you hate him, you hate him. I get it. Someone wrote as answering. He was talking about the disparities in consoles and first party, and like it's what Colin does. And someone responds to him. He's a journalist because I looked him up who he is, blue check mark and everything. There's a reason I let my kid use my Xbox One controller as a pacifier today. I haven't turned it on in months. First of all, if you're a journalist in gaming and you have an Xbox One, I'm just saying maybe you need to spend some bucks and upgrade. I don't know. I'm just saying. But listen, we don't have a lot of time for some people here. Mag, listen, again, I apologize to the people who haven't spoken yet. It's just it was such a big panel. I wanted to try and get everyone out. Give us your spiel on this, brother. Obviously, you are in cahoots with Jim Ryan, as we know, as Mr. Pony 420. So speak, bro. Talk about it.
Let me tell you something. I'll be very quick because you got to get the Dutch and Crispy and everybody and back to post up. Listen. I'll tell you exactly what happened, and this is exactly what we all said was going to happen. Brad Smith has always been the closer. By the way, I've called him Brad Sams 8 times today, so I really got to watch it. I almost had to write it down. And then Brad Sams somewhere is just going, God, this guy's getting me so many views. But anyways.
Brad Sams literally asked people not to call him Brad Smith on his podcast today.
Oh, there you go. Okay, well, there you go.
Hilarious.
So anyhow, Brad Smith is the closer, okay? When you're in the 9th inning, you got 2 runners on. You need to get those final 2 outs. You call in Brad Smith. This is what's happening. And what does he do? It's basically the age-old divide and conquer. And what is he doing? He's singling out the root of the problem. He goes to Nvidia, no problem. Obviously, the Steam thing we already know about. He goes to Nintendo, they signed on the dotted line. And what does he do? He literally held up the paper and said, we just need you to sign this. He held the paper up. That is what you call pressure tactics that were absolutely brilliant. So what it does is it not only puts them on the spot, it puts pressure on them even from a media point of view where everybody's now they turn off the music, they stop the record player, makes that little sound, and then everybody's staring at Sony going, so what are you going to do? Right? And that's exactly what he did. He basically put the spotlight on him, turned the music off, turned the lights up, and now they're just standing there doe-eyed, and they're like, well, they got to do something. You cannot hide in the shadow anymore. He's put the light on it, and that's exactly what Brad Smith has been put there to do. He's been put there to do that from the beginning, and they knew that when you had to call him the big gun, you call him the big gun in areas. Now, the other thing, really funny, I was just going to do some side notes there. I was going to say the whole Nvidia proceedings. I mean, if this is not Ray Liotta in court as Henry Hill pointing to De Niro, okay, and Paul Sorvino without looking them in the eye and then just saying, do you see the two men in the room? Yes. Can you point them out to the court? Yeah, right there. And they basically did exactly that. And all I could think of was the ending of Goodfellas when he just basically ratted out his lifelong thing. Now, another quick thing I was going to say, King was talking about the legacy titles. Actually, a lot of you guys were talking about the legacy titles going forward with this deal. First of all, I think that any game that has touched those other consoles will continue to do so forever. And like I said, I didn't want to interrupt anybody when they were talking, but that's going to go on forever. And the reason why is because they are a constant revenue stream. Why would you stop that? Right? I could see AAA titles like, let's say, single player games like your Indiana Jones, like your possible Deadpool 3s. Okay, or not Deadpool 3, excuse me, that's the movie, but the Deadpool game. I actually see those staying as Xbox exclusive because there is no need to put them on competing consoles, so to speak, in order to make any money off that because they're not going to make a lot of money off of those games. Okay, that's not what they're looking for. What they're looking for is that constant revenue stream. For example, your Diablos, your Call of Duties. And then, of course, on the mobile side, I don't have to go through all the list of all those games. And, of course, the World of Warcrafts, whatever else, right? Those things are going to be stay multi-plat, and they're going to stay multi-plat forever. So when there's a Diablo 5, it will never be an Xbox exclusive. Never. Because those games will continue to make constant money. And let's face it, guys, at the end of the day, what the hell are we doing here? What are we talking about here? We're talking about making money. This is what they want to do. They're not interested in those single player games. They're going to sell, let's say, 1 million copies on PlayStation. It's a waste of time. It's actually better to put it on Game Pass and get more people into the ecosystem on that end than actually releasing it for other consoles and making a couple of measly bucks in their eyes anyway. That's what I see there. So that's another thing I was going to say. Now, the other thing, when King David was talking about, Sony had a chance here. They had an opportunity to be able to come up to the table peacefully. But what they have done here is chosen violence. And by choosing violence, they have removed the opportunity to parlay. They've removed the opportunity for negotiation. Now, I'm not saying that Microsoft's not going to do it. They could still be the good guy. But they've lost those opportunities, okay, that they could do it in a peaceful way. Now, the problem is with that is that now Microsoft has the ball in their court, and they can continue to have the ball in their court because now they can do and dictate whatever they want, how they please. If it's not going to make them enough money, they will not be the good guys, and they will take it away. And that's the problem with there. Now, the thing is, I have a feeling that the reason that Sony is afraid of this whole situation, this is the last thing I'm going to say before I pass off the mic, is that they're afraid because they believe that Microsoft is going to act the same way they did in the 90s. And the same way that they did in the early 2000s and into the aughts and whatever else. And that is what you call guilty conscience. Okay? They are operating on a guilty conscience because they just said, oh, Jesus Christ. We've been doing this for 30 years, and now someone is coming up here that's carrying the same amount of weapons we're carrying. And doesn't mean Microsoft's going to do it. I'm just saying they're afraid of that because they're the ones who've been doing it. They're the ones who went after Nintendo, screwed them on the deal with the PlayStation 1. They're the ones that buried the 3DO. They're the ones that buried Sega, right? And now they're looking at these and they're going, oh, man, they could do that to us. The thing is, Microsoft's not going to do that to them. But the thing is, like I said, when you got a guilty conscience, your mind goes exactly to the crimes you committed over 100%. The last 30 years. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. And that's why they're putting so much resistance into this, because they think that everybody's going to be an asshole like they are. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem at the end of the day. But anyways, that is, whose problem that is? Not ours. Not the chat's problem. Not anybody. It is Sony's problem exclusively, and it's going to continue to be. The deal's going to go through. I can't wait to see where it's going to go. But anyways, gentlemen, what an awesome night. What an epic panel. What an epic chat. Guys, I got to get going out of here. So anyway, post up. You're the last guest. And, of course, panel, we'll talk to you guys during the week. Everybody have a great night and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks,
right,
man.
Thanks so much.
Good sharing the panel with you.
All right, brothers. See you guys later.
To add to what Mag just said, is they will have one more bite, and that the Sony, and that will be when the CMA has to make the decision. I think the EC is ready to go. The EC will probably be good and say, okay, here are the concessions, go. And Sony will have a chance to make a sweetheart deal for themselves with the CMA. And we'll see how that goes. But anyways, continue.
No, Dutch. Let's get your opinion on this, brother. You had a chance today on your show to discuss what happened. I think a lot of us were not shocked in the way that we didn't see it happening with Nvidia. We knew Nintendo was going to, because they had already said they were going to sign a 10-year deal. I think the biggest shocker here is getting Tencent come out and say, yeah, we're okay with this deal. Now, they're doing it for their own good reasons because they want to continue to acquire here, there, and everywhere. But at the same time, when you start to see the industry bigs, Nintendo, Nvidia, Steam, 2K, EA, they're all like, yeah, we really don't have a problem with this deal. It really does make Sony the boy that cried wolf. He's literally on an island right now by himself. What are your thoughts on what happened?
Yeah, I think the Nvidia thing is probably the one of the better things that's come out of yesterday, as opposed to Tencent agreeing with it or Nintendo, because I think Nintendo is extremely limited in what that will actually offer. Yes, Call of Duty for them, but outside of them getting a severely unpaid version of Call of Duty for the next decade, I think the Nvidia thing opens up. It's a win-win situation for both companies. On one side, it means that more people are more likely, for those who use the cloud streaming version of GeForce Now, to buy Xbox games on PC in order to play them on GeForce Now on the go, which means that Microsoft will get sales. On the opposite side, GeForce Now obviously charges for that service. And if you want the highest end version, which is being upgraded to the 4090 shortly, that means they'll get subscribers. So it's a knock-on effect. So it doesn't impair cloud gaming because it's offering another cloud service the ability to add to their company. Not just any games, every Microsoft Game Studio game, every Xbox Game Studio game that's ever been made will be added to that service, which is massive. And that's effective immediately. So it's from yesterday. Like the moment that went live, they said, no, we are adding them like now. And every Thursday, check on the blog and we'll update on what games have been added. And they're just going to keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that until every Xbox Game Studio game is on there. So that means that it'll be games like your Starfield, your Redfall, all of those games will go onto that service day and date. Same as Xbox Game Pass. On PC, on Steam, on wherever they put it on PC, on GeForce Now, on Xbox Cloud, wherever you want to play it, exactly what Microsoft was saying and what Xbox was saying, wherever you want to play that game, you can play it. We'll offer the opportunity for other platforms, and they've been saying, even Phil Spencer's been saying this for a very long time, we'll offer the opportunity for other platforms to bring Game Pass where we can get Game Pass.
Yep.
If other platforms open up the ability to do either browser, which PlayStation has restricted this generation and compared to last generation, if they open up the browser, then they'll be able to get Game Pass on the PlayStation if they so choose to do.
Yep.
They don't have to have a dedicated app if they don't want to. They can just open up the browser, let them browser Game Pass, and they'll be able to play Starfield on the PlayStation. On the opposite side, Nintendo already do cloud gaming. So it's a case of, do we just add Game Pass as an app on there that allows them to do cloud streaming? Is that part of Nintendo's next plan? Yes, he clarified to say at the moment it is, yes, just Call of Duty games will go to Nintendo over the next 10 years. But
what's to stop them, Dutch?
I'd hazard a guess at some point they'll be still having conversations with Nintendo saying, listen, let's see what we can do with this Game Pass, even if you give you a little slice of the pie.
Hey, to your point, Dutch, if you think about it, they have already like kind of beta tested that with Fortnite. There were Fortnite players who could log in without even having a Game Pass sub, and all you got was Fortnite. You log in and you're in there, right?
Yeah,
that could easily be done with COD for now, and then broadened out as they go. That's the first thing I thought of. Hey, if nothing else, they could put an Edge browser on Switch today.
Yeah,
you know, absolutely.
I say just any old browser. Any old browser will kind of do the job. As long as you've got access to the internet and the browser, you're good. So I don't see why not. I think at the end of the day, it's PlayStation know they were just having an argument for the sake of having an argument. We know that they were going to defend their platform, their platform's market position to the absolute utmost, and that is literally what you should expect any company to do, is defend their stance to the hilt unless they're absolutely in the wrong. And PlayStation are not in the wrong for defending their own platform. They're definitely not in the wrong for defending their market position because they know how the world works. They know how they definitely know how a fierce market works because, again, these are competitors. They're not their friends. It is business at the end of the day, and they're not there to make friends. They're there to do business. So PlayStation are obviously going to fight the bad fight when it needs to and the good fight when it needs to. Right now, they're fighting that bad fight, but that's because it's just their prerogative to defend their company, and so be it. But on Microsoft's side, they know when they've got a winner. They know when they have an argument that really doesn't have any flaws. Saying, "Oh, right, we're going to damage cloud streaming." Okay, well, Nvidia's just added every one of our games ever made to cloud streaming, and I've guaranteed that for the next 10 years. So there's another cloud streaming platform that's going to do it. If Google was still around with Google Stadia, I guarantee they would have had a contract up front. So there's a lot of them. If Amazon Luna was actually successful, they probably would have done a deal with Amazon.
Amazon could walk into the room tomorrow, Dutch, and say, "Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it on our platform as well." And Microsoft,
I was going to say the problem with Amazon though is that it's barely launched outside of America. Like it's definitely it's not even available in Europe or the UK. Amazon Luna. True. That's the problem, and they're complaining about the market's unfair. Well, you could actually try launching it in every market first.
And the funny thing about Luna is it's actually pretty damn good. If
I haven't tried it yet.
Actually let people know.
I haven't tried it.
It is the competitor. It really is.
AWS,
they're kind of stepping back.
AWS is the top cloud streaming service in the world. Above Azure. Yeah. So it's bound to be good. The difference is Amazon love to cheapen out where they can cheapen out. We've seen that with their workforce. We've seen that with all the factories. They'll literally open a factory, close it down 6 months later. They do not care.
That's why I said they kind of got 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
Because since they announced Luna, I haven't really seen them make the investment in gaming that they need to put Luna where it's at. And don't get me wrong, they can spin right with Microsoft. They can spin right with them. It's whether they want to make that investment.
Isn't that the same thing with Google? They also can spend as Microsoft. Yeah. But as soon as Microsoft started spending, they went, well, this is too rich for our blood, and they peaced out.
I think Google messed up. I think Google shouldn't have tried to build the first party this late in the game. You're late to the party.
Out the back door. Bro.
You're gonna be playing catch up for the next 10, 15, or 20 years to Nintendo. But buy something that was already established.
Yeah.
Albeit Microsoft on ZeniMax. Go get Activision. Go get something that's already established, that's already proven, and then go from there.
Well, I was going to say you don't even need to do that this late on in the game. You just buy exclusive games from
do that as well.
Game developers. Just the easy way. You just say, listen, we want to fund a game exclusive to us. Yeah. Like that's what we want to do. So can you make us a game? Here's some money.
I mean, their model was just too early. I think their model just doesn't work, unfortunately, if you're going to buy, and they have to refund everybody the games because of their model. If they had the same model as others where you buy the game, it's yours. If you want to stream it, you can, right? And that's
their
a much better
mistake, their biggest and first mistake, the reason they were doomed to start, they hate Windows. So everything must be ported to
That
Linux.
was another stupid
mistake. That is the biggest mistake they made. Do you know who fixed it? Steam did. Valve did. They went, oh, you want to do Windows? Sure. We'll just make sure that this go-between Proton gets us where we need to go without making you, developer, eat the cost. That was the mistake that Stadia made. Had they opted for Windows or continued the Proton, which was open source, they could have easily applied to it. Proton's been around for years, right? They first and foremost, we non-Windows. So in order to deal with us,
and it's getting more into the Stadia demise thing.
That's right. Yeah. That's what that is.
That was their own fault. That was their.
It was absolutely their fault.
Disdain from Microsoft to kind of.
Yeah, it's a stupid.
They let
move.
that rule.
It's not like
Yes.
Amazon doesn't compete with Microsoft as well,
Yeah.
but they had.
And
this
guess what
knowledge,
Amazon
like,
does?
No, we're
It's
using
Windows.
That's what the games are. It's on
Absolutely.
Windows. We're just going to use
Yes.
Windows.
But ultimately, like the deal as a whole, what we saw yesterday was just exactly what Microsoft set out to do. They were going there. It wasn't to have meetings. They had these contracts ready. They knew they were getting them signed. They were like, right, well, whilst in Rome, which is pretty much not far off. Whilst in Rome, we may as well get this done. Today was the yesterday, sorry, my time. Yesterday and today your time. Was the cutoff point for the CMA and for putting through any remedies that Microsoft would suggest to the CMA. So that was the cutoff point today, 22nd. So that was the UK. The EU, of course, was yesterday. So they're kind of in the same ballpark. They were getting things done, both in the EU and the UK around this week. So I don't see. I think at the end of the day, what happened yesterday will see it more of a domino effect, and I think it's going to be a case of which regulator wants to claim that they got the remedies in first.
Yep.
Probably going to be the EU. If I had to pick out of the three, it's going to be the EU.
I think even the mess that is the FTC wants to try and claim victory here.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think they will first. The UK will probably be second, and the EU will be last. But I think the FTC will be probably wanting to try and jump the gun and just claim some kind of moral victory here to say, oh, look what we've done to the big tech.
Unless Lena Khan is getting a call from the top. Because like I said, she is the chairperson running the FTC, but she still has a boss.
Yeah.
And there's going to come a point, Dutch, where someone's going to call. Well,
right?
yeah, technically three.
President, the Congress, and the Supreme Court, the judicial branch. They all are technically her boss.
Yeah, so there may be calls to say, hey, listen, this is all your complaints have been addressed. We gotta get this done and move on to bigger, better things because it's wasting millions of taxpayer dollars. Crispy, let's get your final opinion. I'll catch up on the super chats again. There's been a lot of them, and then we'll get everyone out here. Crispy, you had your shot to listen to everyone. Sorry that you went last, brother. It wasn't done on purpose. Talk about it, man. I mean, you and I were talking on the phone yesterday. We mentioned that there's literally so much good evidence and so much goodwill that Microsoft is doing to allow everyone to play every one of their games pretty much everywhere, that if anything stood in its way, it's collusion or corruption. What are your thoughts, man?
I mean, let's be honest. You saw the diagram. That's like, if you go into the States, that's the court floor for the EU. You have to understand, like, Microsoft's not going to put out something that's incorrect because they're going to get a lot of hate. Instead, we're getting a lot of hate from, all of a sudden I'm starting to see like big corporate thing, this and that. It's kind of ridiculous. It's unnecessary.
Yep.
I'm about not having a monopoly, and the two parts that we're talking about, CMA, EU, they have a monopoly in gaming. Okay, we're not talking about the whole spectrum. We're not talking about Microsoft as a whole, anything else. You want to talk about Windows? That's a whole different realm. Okay, but I just want to say, and this is the only thing, and this is my opinion. This would be tinfoil hat for Kay Asante. This is my opinion. Okay. Microsoft is looking at this as an opportunity. The Nvidia deal, this is an opportunity to make the next killer app.
Yeah.
Why do I say that? Because you're going to have to pay in some way, shape, or form for all of these games. Let's say Gears actually came to PlayStation. Would that be irrelevant? Or would you say, my God, I can get that for way cheaper on the actual console that it was made on? I don't know. You want to compete right now? What's the next killer app? Now, why do I say next killer app. Well, Microsoft has made the killer app. It's called Windows. All right? You can say what you want, but I think everybody in the chat and all of us have used it, just not even knowing it. Do you understand what I'm saying? How about you put out the IPs that you are so good at to the people that will allow them to be on there, and also kind of nonchalantly say, guess what? You can get this for $15 a month on our, total app.
Yeah,
Do you
absolutely.
subscribe to
Absolutely.
PC Game Pass? Do you subscribe to Xbox Game Pass? Are you an Xbox Ultimate member? Well, guess what? You can get it for $15 a month. And instead of paying your $70, I truly want to see the actual writing involved in the contract to PlayStation, because I feel like there's something there we're not seeing. And Sony's like, oh, hell no. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're going this far, and everybody brings up the CMA, well, they have to answer the cat. Okay? So there is something there that nobody is seeing. And we act like it's not there, but it is. Like, they have somebody above them. And it's kind of like the FTC. They have somebody above them. This courting with the EU is absolutely logical. And it makes sense because this is their platform right now. There are multiple countries involved. This isn't just one country, like the CMA or the FTC. This is multiple countries that have different opinions. And you throw up the 80-20 or whatever.
Yeah, it was 80-20 in the EU and the UK.
If you want to spin it, some other way and say this, that, and the other thing, I don't care. It's there. It is in their documents now, because somebody's probably writing in what was shown. Okay, just like somebody, will do things, that is told to them to do. And you're going to sit here and say that it's not logical? It doesn't make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, is it a lie? I mean, why would they do that in front of multiple different countries, superiors on that thing? Because they were there. They might not be saying anything, but we're talking about multiple different countries in this single thing.
Yeah.
And that is where I go and say, what are we talking about? Are we talking about logic? Because you could sit here and say, is PlayStation or Sony in any of the things that really Microsoft makes money off of? Are they in Windows? Are they in Office? Are they in Excel? Or, Open Office? Or, now it's Libra. Okay? Like, are they in those things? No, they're not. But Microsoft, third place all the time. Apparently Nintendo doesn't matter, which is hilarious. Which, dude, like, Microsoft's looking at this like they just signed a contract. We're going to give them everything they want. Trust me, because they want to be a third party. They want to be a developer. And once they become a developer, guess what? You're getting eyes on that. People would just be like, oh, it's Microsoft. Oh, well, this game sitting here for like $20. What's going on here? And then they play it and they're like, oh wait, I could have paid $15 a month and had all these other games behind it.
Yeah.
This is the next killer app. And I think, as long as they play it right, and it seems like the Nvidia thing, like, let's think about it. Really think about it. Okay. Like, they're dropping games like ASAP. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things, like, you go and play a game and you're like, man, this is really good, but man, I'm paying a lot of money or whatever else for the next iteration. Why not just go to Xbox
Absolutely.
And
it
that's
sounds like the false
logical.
exclusivity thing is what they're trying to get rid of. They want to make it available
We've
everywhere,
all-
but then make you feel stupid for using it elsewhere because it's
Okay,
so much cheaper
Asante,
on
we've
their
all said, everyone on this right now, right here,
Mm.
right now, we have all said that it's all about Game Pass. It ain't about the exclusivity. And
No, Game Pass is the
what
Game Pass is the
better
exclusive.
way-
Yeah.
What better way to transponder that to everybody else that doesn't care about Xbox than to release the games on those said consoles or platforms? That is what I'm talking about, and this
you
is
make a lot
my
of sense.
opinion.
Yeah. No. Listen, dude, it's you broke it down beautifully. It is your opinion. It makes a lot of sense. Look, ladies and gentlemen, this was an epic show. We had over 800 people turn out. That's the most we've ever had on Primetime Gaming. We broke some records tonight. Let me catch up on the super chats, and obviously we'll get everyone out of here. East Texas Alex, a good friend of the program, drops a $5 super chat and says, shout out to all of the salt and pepper beers on the podcast. Look at that. Jason Redmond drops a very generous $5 super chat and says there was a regulatory employee that said that they are doing everything to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. I mean, it's on PlayStation. It's going to stay on PlayStation. It's that's I don't understand why they're still beating that drum, but hopefully yesterday's press conference answered all the questions that they have, and I think they did. Dreadful Sean, who's been a channel member for a month, thank you for that, Sean. He drops a $5 super chat and says, if the deal gets blocked, ABK will go under and Call of Duty will die. Devs will leave in droves because Bobby is still running the ship. Yeah, and that's a real problem. They've already said it. If he's on, we're out, and that's a problem. Gamers Play HUD Zero, who's been a channel member for 16 months. Thanks so much for that, dude. He says Activision has the golden goose, which is Call of Duty, and Sony is stubborn still because of the damn discounted deal with them. Advantage Microsoft. Yeah, indeed. Game Players HUD Zero drops an additional $10 super chat and says Brad Smith was on stage in Brussels like Mick Jagger and aired out all of the facts and waved the contract in Sony's face like, we have the contract if you want to deal. Eternal Shaddai drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, good move for Microsoft to give a 10-year deal to Nvidia and especially Nintendo. Hey, Mag, how will you interpret this deal of Microsoft and in Nintendo Animal Crossing language? Great show as always, Boom. I'd love to have seen that. Kenta Wilson, good friend of the program, drops a $10 super chat and says, Game Pass is the future of gaming, period. We also have Canned Drew drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, just getting here. What a panel. Was browsing Twitter. Holy cow. The unbiased games media are in their feelings today.
Yeah.
Xbox living rent free. Dude, I'm like while
Crazy
you guys are
right
talking,
now.
I'm
Yeah.
reading some things.
Me too.
I am.
Yeah, me
Listen,
too.
tomorrow I'm sitting down at 12 p.m. with Steel Rain of Living Split Screen, and we're going to specifically get into this because we're starting to see the gaming media literally lose their damn minds in real time. Some of the things that I'm seeing
It's
written
crazy.
are I mean, like, listen, I know that it's blue versus green versus red, and PlayStation better first party and Xbox no game. I get all of that, but these journalists, look, folks, they are supposed to be an integral part of the community. There's something called journalistic integrity that you are supposed to carry with you when you are out there writing for the people. And what I am seeing tonight is nothing short of someone took a bunch of crazy pills and put it into everyone's water because, my God, folks, it is madness. So tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Steel Rain and I are going to get into what happened in Brussels because he didn't get to drop his bars, and he's going to do it tomorrow. But we're going to get into this media bias, which, again, folks, if you want to take the receipts, super easy. Just use your smartphone. It's called smartphone for a reason. Capture these things and come back to these people because some of the things that post up, you're seeing it. It's just it's madness. It is just madness. Chaos Theory, who's been a channel member for Holy Matrimony for 2 years, gifted a Double Barrel Gaming membership. Thank you so much for that, brother. Super appreciate that. M's Odyssey drops a $2 super chat and says Microsoft history content parody equal Call of Duty like Hi-Fi Rush. I'm not sure what that means, but they're going to get parody.
Maybe quality wise, I'm not sure if that was a pejorative or not, but
I don't know.
the quality cannot be denied.
Yeah. So Chaos Theory again drops. He's been a channel member for 39 months. Says, does Nintendo get all of those IP and not give up anything? I mean, at this point, who cares? If
007. We got 007 GoldenEye, right?
And maybe we'll get the better version too. Now that this deal is done.
And a lot of that rare stuff, that rare stuff that's locked in limbo has Nintendo behind it. Maybe this opens that door a little bit for y'all, so you get your burden there and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get everyone out of here. Again, thank you to the 800 plus people that tuned in. It's again record-breaking night for Double Barrel Gaming, specifically on Primetime Gaming. Again, I hate to keep asking, but if you are not subscribed, and there may be someone, 618 people still here, please hit that sub button. It doesn't cost anything, and you will help myself and my wife, who are the only two that run this channel, get to 12K. It would be a great start to 2023. Post up, brother. You delivered 10 times over. I cannot thank you enough. I want to see your channel grow. Tell everyone where they can check you out, where they can subscribe to your YouTube channel, and more importantly, follow you on Twitter, because you have been dropping bombs, dude. Talk about it.
Well, I just want to thank you and everyone else that was on the panel tonight. It was incredible sharing this space with y'all and having this discussion with y'all. And hopefully I can have many more with y'all. But you can find me on YouTube. Find us on YouTube at State of Gaming. We're an up-and-coming podcast, and we're definitely trying to build and grow the platform. On Twitter, you can find me at postup_BBB. Now, on YouTube, we usually go live every Saturday at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And so that's what we do it every Saturday. And so, we're just trying to build the channel, come and have a discussion. The most important thing I say is the conversation, whether we agree or disagree, whether you for the deal or against the deal. The most important thing is the conversation and what we can all take from it. So that's why I'm at YouTube, State of Gaming, Twitter, postup_BBB. Thank you for having me, Boom. I really
definitely. We'll definitely give you the invite back, brother. We loved having you on tonight, so thank you so much for taking the time. Hargeet Chani, sell the brand of Game On Daily. Obviously, what you guys do over there is amazing. Gaz and Asa. I know Asa's got to be in his glory because he's getting a PlayStation, a VR 2.0. Oh, yeah. If he didn't already get it, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say. Talk about it, brother. Where can people subscribe to that YouTube channel? And more importantly, I know you're not on social media, so if someone wanted to get in touch with you on like Xbox or on any of the other services, how do they do that?
Yeah, so GameOnDaily.com. Check that site out. It's a great news aggregation platform. It kind of gives you your personal news if you want it for gaming. YouTube.com/GameOnDaily for our YouTube videos. And I am on Xbox as HChani. I am not on any other social media. I am on Discord, but I think you have to know some number. It's HChani there too, but there's some number that goes with it. And I don't know what that number is. I don't know how you can find me there, but whatever. But you can certainly check me out on Xbox. And definitely check out youtube.com/GameOnDaily. We have our weekly show on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. It should be fun. And then I'm also constantly on RDX nowadays, so I might as well just plug that in. So that's Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, RDX with Dealer Gaming. So check that out as well.
Absolutely, brother. And Dealer Gaming, good friend of this program. Wandering Dutch, sell your brand, brother. Talk about the midweek mix-up podcast. You had an episode today. You guys did some brilliant work as always. And of course, you have something coming up this year, which is, I believe, the third year in a row regarding the indie scene. Talk about that, dude.
Yeah, it's so invites will be going out to people who are taking part in it across the next couple of weeks. Already asked a few, and a few already know. So, so of course we've already got our first set. So of course Pong and Steel will be there. Mr. BoomStick, of course, will be there again this year. Box and Burger will be taking part again this year, and Everborn and Desante will also be taking part this year. So there's just a few of the names involved in the indie showcase, community indie showcase 2023. Of course, that's just the beginning. There are 2 shows this year. So there's one in April and there's one at the back end in August and September. So there's 2 awesome shows to kind of bookend each side of the year. So one just before E3 and one either just after Gamescom or just before it. We'll see how things line up, how I can get it working, because I plan on being at Gamescom this year. So yes, it's going to be awesome. Looking forward to getting that together again. Of course, working with a load of indie developers and getting some new games in there, getting some first looks, some alpha footage and everything in there as usual, and see if we can get some surprise faces like we did last year with Aaron Greenberg on, and maybe a few more. You never know.
Can't wait to see it, brother.
But other than that, of course, you can find me everywhere at The Wondering Dutch. Of course, same on YouTube, which is the home of the Midweek Mix-Up podcast. You can find me here every Wednesday, of course, Wednesday evening, straight after our show. And on Thursdays on the World of Gaming with Boxenberger, where I am co-host there. And right now, for the community, of course, with that terrible Xbox dashboard we've got, I've started creating a load of Xbox wallpapers to go and fit around that terrible dashboard layout that we have to live with, where we can't see the background. So I've been creating backgrounds. There's like 28 backgrounds on there so far on the Mix Up Midweek Twitter. So if anybody wants some backgrounds that actually fit the layout and you can see them properly, we're creating them and we're taking requests. So any game goes. It can be Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, whatever you want. We've had Pokemon, Final Fantasy VII Remake. We've had all the Xbox games on there.
We need a good banjo, brother. To let me know when you got that up there.
Have I done banjo yet? No, but I have done Conker today. Conker's on there now. So I'll do banjo. But yeah, so anything goes. But yeah, always a blast being on this panel. Of course, it was stacked tonight. So it's always good fun. Always good fun.
Yeah, Dutch, thank you so much for being a part of it, as always, dude. You bring great knowledge and great professionalism, so thank you so much. Kay Asante, I can only imagine what you're scheming up for Saturday's podcast. It is going to be big, and of course, that is the Gaming Circle podcast, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell people where they can help you get now to 3K. You got to 1K, you crossed that, you dusted it off your shoulders. Let's get to 3 by the end of 2023. I love it. You deserve it. Talk about it.
Yes. So first and foremost, I must thank everybody for being here. Post up, brother. It was a pleasure. This is so great. I've been wanting to have you chop it up with you for so long. We're gonna have to definitely do that again. Yes, it's always great to have a stacked panel, all these opinions. It's always awesome to sit back with my popcorn and just watch and enjoy myself. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir. Wandering Dutch, I have a request for you, sir. I want a background with the logos of the Midweek Mix-Up and all that awesome stuff you put on the shirts. Put them on the background. That'd be really cool. Not even just a game. I want the crew, the pictures, of the cool logos you guys do. That'd be awesome on the background. I will put that on my background. I'm looking forward to that. But no, I'm also looking forward to the indie showcase for this year. I've been promoting it wherever I can because I feel like the Keeleys should not be the only ones getting the shine these days. So I appreciate you continue to do that hard work. One last thing, Boom. I don't know if you got Eternal Shaddai's
yes, actually, M's Odyssey drops an additional $1 super chat. Thanks so much for that. And Eternal Shaddai drops an additional, very generous $5 super chat. Says, could you imagine Microsoft showing chart pies from Brazil, Saudi Arabia, and soon Japan when it hits later, talking to those trading commissions? It's
absolutely. Yeah. So what I will say is this weekend it will be absolutely awesome. I'm going to be having Jesse Norris from Xbox Era on the podcast. Nice. He reviewed one of my favorite new games that I've been playing and that's been taking me away from Hogwarts, and that is Atomic Heart. Man, that game is crazy. Stay away from that red vending machine, boy. That red vending machine
It is very
You don't know
tenacious.
nothing what I'm talking about. When the first time you meet that red vending machine, boy, it'll change your life. Anyway, let's move forward.
Oh man,
I have never seen it in a single game ever, that red vending machine, but that's okay. So yes, he'll be joining us. So we're gonna have a good conversation about just gaming and reviews and all that in gaming. And also, oddly enough, it kind of worked out that way. I will be co-hosting with Special Nick on the Xbox Era podcast.
That's awesome,
later
dude.
that Saturday night. They just announced it, so I can speak on that. So I'm super excited. We're doing that Xbox Era GCP crossover. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you guys so much for having me as usual. And yeah, check out our stuff. And we keep the community conversations going, and we appreciate y'all. TKO Asante, PlayStation, Xbox, all those places. And we will probably see you next week.
Brother, thanks so much for that. And last but no way least, Crispy Bomb, sell your brand, brother. Where can people find you on other podcasts, and more importantly, reach out to you on social media?
I mean, this was one for the ages.
Indeed.
Definitely like this. Share it out. People can watch it afterwards.
Absolutely.
My God, like just such great people on this podcast, including yourselves that are still here. I love you guys.
We love you too, brother.
It's at Chris Baum on Twitter, Chris Baum 28 Xbox Live. Tomorrow night, I'm sure the slander is going to be all over the place on the next podcast, 8 p.m. prime time, as Bot likes me to say. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll be on PWP. I don't know.
Maybe we're gonna have one for sure. So you're welcome to just
I didn't have enough bars to drop tonight. I still got more in my brain. So that's up to you, Boom. But
listen, join us when you want, brothers. I'll send you the link. Just jump on in.
We got Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Retro Renegades, and of course, I mean, come on, back here on Primetime Gaming. 7 p.m. Wednesdays. I mean, what's better than this, people? Shout out to the chat. Love y'all. Awesome. Awesome to see y'all here. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Definitely. And again, a big shout out to all the super chats. I mean, there was a lot today. I am glad I didn't miss any of them, or at least I hope I didn't miss any of them. Thank you again for the incredible support. Like I said, my wife and I do turn those things around, and we invest back in the podcast. Last year, like I said, we gave away $3,500 worth of gift cards over the course of 12 months. And we do it because we are allowed to do it because of the support. And we like giving back. That's our thing. It's what built this channel. Community first is where it rose to where it is now. And I can't thank you folks enough. But listen, I am going to close out the show with something that is important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. Thank you again. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends.